Only by your local Super Chevy dealers and Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. This is LSU football.
Daniels lines them up. Williams, the running back. Here's the snap. Give to Williams. Wide open up the middle in the end zone. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. Looking to throw. In the pocket. It gets tight. Now he moves to his right. Perkins giving chase, and he brings him down at the 39-yard line.
LSU football on Eagle 98.1, the flagship home of the Tigers. Tonight from Tiger Stadium, it's the LSU Tigers and the UAB Blazers. Now, here's Charles Sandegriff and Matt Musso.
This is Eagle 98.1 Gameday. Good afternoon, everybody. Charles Sandegriff along with Matt Musso and our entire staff as we walk you up to the kickoff of tonight's game between UAB and LSU. The Tigers come in with a record of 8-2. They have clinched the Western Division of the Southeastern Conference and will go to Atlanta to face the Georgia Bulldogs in 2 weeks. Last week, LSU with a hard-fought 13-10 win over Arkansas in a very chilly Fayetteville. UAB comes in with a record of 5-5. They last week beat North Texas by a score of 41-21. LSU comes in better than a 2-touchdown favorite. These non-conference games that are positioned in November are always awkward. We've seen some of the powers struggle earlier today. In fact, it's been a wild day all over in college football. TCU, field goal at the gun to survive in Waco. Michigan, field goal just inside of the gun to survive against Illinois. Even Alabama didn't look all that terribly impressive. And, of course, if we would have predicted that Vanderbilt would actually beat Florida, we wouldn't have had too many takers. So there's been some unusual things. This is what happens late in the season. Things get crazy in college football. Nobody knows that better than LSU. Been asked a number of times about the comparisons between the 2007 team, which had a lot of things go their way, and this team, which still has an opportunity to go to the playoffs. The difference is this. In 2007, LSU lost their last regular season game to Arkansas. They needed on Championship Saturday a number of things to fall in their favor in order to get into the championship game. This year, depending on who you ask, LSU controls their own destiny. Sort of. If they get into the SEC championship game and were to beat Georgia, an 11-2 LSU SEC champion would have an awfully strong resume. But so would Tennessee, and so would Georgia. Those questions still have to be answered. The one that LSU has to answer tonight is, are you going to be up for this game? If you are listening to this thing anywhere, this broadcast anywhere in the vicinity of Baton Rouge, you can confirm what I'm about to tell everybody that's not anywhere near Baton Rouge, which is the weather is lousy. It's cold, and I say it's cold. It's cold for Baton Rouge standards. Everywhere else in the country, it seems to be snowing. If you're north of the Mason-Dixon line, you're probably caught in a blizzard somewhere. If you are in Baton Rouge, you know that this is cold by our standards. It is raining. This game is a late kickoff. It is a non-conference opponent. In short, you got to really, really, really want to be there if you're the LSU Tigers. And again, we've seen some things already today in college football. LSU needs to be on alert. It is senior night. Adding another layer to what Gordy Rush will tell you here in the first two segments is something that he would rather have earlier in the season so as not to cause these distractions later in the season. Well, so this game is one, the way it's positioned on the schedule, it's a hard ask. LSU's played 6 consecutive SEC games. They pulled off some monumental victories. They've done a lot of positive things, and what's in front of them is incredibly exciting, but they have to take care of business tonight or a lot of the bloom goes off the rose.
It does, Andy. And look, I'll tell you this. I was encouraged listening to Brian Kelly Thursday night on his radio show when he kind of talked about that there's a lot of things that could distract you this week. What you just said, 6 straight SEC games. But how about, man, you're coming off an SEC West championship last weekend, and now you go play UAB, who is a better team than their record would indicate. We'll get into that. But with everything that could be distracting, and Brian Kelly kind of went through it. They were inside on Tuesday. Wednesday's practice wasn't great, but he said he loved Thursday's practice, and the guys are locked in. So we'll see. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be wet. Are you locked in? He says so. Keep everybody healthy. Get out of there with a win.
Vanderbilt beat Florida today.
Yes, they did.
I need to tell you that again. Vanderbilt has beaten Florida exactly one time since I graduated from high school, and I'm old, okay? So when I tell you anything can happen, LSU will have to be on their guard today. We're here at Rouse's, where if you're going tailgating, you can get all your supplies here. And, of course, Thanksgiving is next week, a perfect place to get your meats, all of your wines and your spirits, your beer, all of the things that you'll need to prepare for Thanksgiving. You can get them right here at Rouse's, corner of Burbank and Lee, where the slogan is, they never run out of ice. I'm just going to change it today and say they never run out of hot chocolate. Okay? Because that's what you probably need if you're with us today. We'll take a break and come back and get things started. Gordy Rush joins us. He's going to have a great time on the sideline tonight, swimming around like a duck. That's next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Don't have time for cold or flu?
I don't have time for the cold or the flu.
We're here to help with easy, convenient online check-in, virtual visits, or walk-in care. When you don't have time to be sick, feel better faster at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours. Do you think you have COVID-19?
I'm worried I may have COVID.
We're open 7 days a week for both rapid COVID and antibody testing. Life is busy. You don't have time. Get your results fast at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Skull Session. Offense. Presented by Gulf Coast Bank. Gulf Coast Bank. The bank that cares about you. Now, here's Charles Hannegriff. And from the LSU Sports Radio Network, Gordy Rush.
Back here at Rouse's, corner of Burbank and Lee. Stop by for all your tailgating supplies on your way out to LSU and UAB, and get you ready for Thanksgiving here at Rouse's Thanksgiving next week. Gordy, good afternoon. How are you? Do we have Gordy? Can you hear me?
Charlie, here we go. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm just trying to stay warm. It's going to be 44 and sideways rain at kickoff, so just trying to get my body temperature and my mind right for tonight.
Yeah. There are days when I wish I was you. Those days where you take those golf outings and you just take the day off of work. Those are days I wish I was you. Today I don't wish I was you. It's going to be the conditions are a little tough today.
Well, not only that, but also you signed me up to come do post game afterwards. I can't wait to be thaw out, and you're going to have a heater in there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited about all that. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's a hell of a day today, Charlie. Post game at 3 in the morning. It's the old day. Right?
I'll tell you, I'm bringing the hot chocolate, and who knows? Maybe we'll heat it up with something else. We'll see.
No, it wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah. So to play this game, listen, I'm done railing about the schedule. I think that these games are a hard ask to get up after you played 6 straight SEC games. And what LSU's got coming on the horizon, they know. Final regular season game, the SEC championship. You've said it a million times, man. Sometimes those 4 notes hit, and you just ain't there. This is a little bit of a hard ask. They're going to have to dig a little bit to come up with, the want-to tonight.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, all of the above, and senior night. Let's not forget.
I was going to save it, but go ahead.
Treasure.
I was going to save it, but go ahead. You tell me why senior night should be abolished.
Well, senior night's just a pain in the ass. It takes 20 minutes extra to get it done. It takes you out of your routine, and you're back there for 40 minutes. I think trying to get your body warmed up after warming. I'm just not a senior night fan. So all of the above. You got UAB coming in. UAB's 5-5. They've had a disappointing season by their standards. They've had transition with Clark having to step down because of back issues, and all of these things just don't add up to an exciting night of football. And that's Brian Kelly's challenge. How do you get these college kids ready to go?
I suspect they'll have a better crowd than they had today in College Station. Okay. But for the fans, it's a particularly tough ask to come out for an 8 o'clock kickoff in lousy weather for a non-conference game at this time of year. Gordy, let's talk about UAB. The headliner is Dwayne McBride, number 22. He leads the nation in rushing, 156 yards a game. He'll be an NFL back. He's not going to be a first-round pick, but he's going to be an NFL back. So let's talk about what they do to feature him in the offense and how LSU is going to attack that.
Spread. Look, I mean, it's not nothing that LSU hasn't seen. It's all with Arkansas. They're going to spread the football field out and try to make at least you by lineman, maybe you cover the whole field and get McBride some running lanes. So again, it comes back to the things that LSU's faced the last couple of weeks, assignment football, being sound in your responsibility. I think it's the safeties, Fouché and Brooks doing a fine job out there communicating, make sure their alleys and all the support angles are fit, and do the things you've done. You add to it, it's going to be a wet night. It's not going to be a night throwing the football. You've got to keep your footing and all the above.
Dylan Hopkins, the starting quarterback for UAB, had missed a couple of games, but he was back last week against North Texas. He threw for 234 yards, 6'2", 215 pounds, and they seem to operate a little bit better with him than they did with Zeno, the backup. So tell me a little bit what you've seen about Hopkins.
Yeah, nothing dynamic. I mean, they throw the ball a little bit more on that, and for them, it's really been issues in the fourth quarter, Charlie. They've lost 5 games by right around 5 points or so. They had before the win over North Texas, they had a 3-game losing streak where they lost some games. I think a double overtime game to Texas San Antonio, and they just haven't been able to be big on third down. And they've been a little bit of one-dimensional, and I feel like they get a little bit more balance. So they're not balanced. They're a run team, but a little bit more balanced by playing them.
Yeah, you're right, Gordy. They have not lost of their 5 losses. None of them have been by more than 7 points. So even in the games that they have lost, they have been right there in them. Let's talk about Harold Perkins. He's been tasked with some pretty big asks here in the last several weeks. Whether it be Bryce Young or whether it be Anthony Richardson. Last week you had multiple quarterbacks, and he's been just all over the place. So where might I'm going to just call it a normal offense with normal personnel tonight, where might he be?
Well, I think he plays still in that nickel position opposite Ojulari, and they replaced him for Jay Ward. You don't need him to spy the quarterback tonight, so that's a little bit different look than what you've seen. And then for me, it's really been interesting. Last week, starting about Arkansas, it was the first time you saw a team started scheming to get him out of the box. We saw a lot of 1-by-3 or 4 wide, so that's trips the one way and one receiver the other way, and just a lot of spreading the football field because Perkins is playing a nickel. You want him to go play coverage. There were times against Arkansas in the first half that because of alignment, he was on the slot, the inside, actually the second receiver from the sideline. And that's a dream come true to any offensive coordinator, that Perkins isn't on the edge wreaking havoc. So I'm interested to see, Charlie, how they scheme against him today.
You know, they say a rising tide lifts all ships. The linebacker play in general has been really, really good. Besides Perkins, Micah Baskerville has turned in multiple strong performances, and they really challenged Greg Penn last week to step it up because Brian Kelly, every chance he gets, talks up Demario Tolan. So it seems like they have gotten better play across the board at linebacker.
Yeah, they have, Charlie. Bear with me, just dealing with a little cough here.
Yeah.
What I like about Tolan is that he's got good size and he runs as well. Runs so well too. So when you look at when you put him side by side by Baskerville with Perkins on the other side, I mean that's unbelievable speed for those the linebacking core. Look, Penn I thought was really sound. He did a nice job twice against Arkansas, holding the edge and coming off as defender and making some plays. And you need more than just 2 linebackers. So it was Penn's definitely best football game as an LSU Tiger. And again, you're going to play a lot of guys tonight.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll let you clear up the cough a little bit, get you some water, and we'll come back. We'll talk about LSU's offense tonight. This is from Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. don't forget our nightly drink special.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Skull Session. Defense. Presented by Edward Jones, making sense of investments. Now here's Charles Hanegraaff. And from the LSU Sports Radio Network, Gordy Rush.
Back here at Rouse's, again, download the digital app for curbside delivery. That's particularly useful here today as we're braving some not so great weather here in Baton Rouge. Gordy, if this game has got one big shining light for LSU, it is that this gives Jaden Daniels a chance to rebound from what was a rough outing for him last week. We talked about it a little bit on the Handycast, but I thought that the early turnover really kind of unnerved him. In the second one, really, I thought, got in his head. And after that, it was a revision to the September version of Jaden Daniels and, just holding the ball entirely too long. This game gives him an opportunity to get back to some of the things that we saw him do during the win streak against Alabama, against Ole Miss when he was so dynamic. So what are you looking for from Mike Denbrock tonight to get Daniels back in the groove?
Well, yeah, I think getting him to rhythm. I told you on the podcast, the Handycast, to me, it looked like, we saw a little bit of anxiety. He's kind of going in slow motion. How much of that was the cold weather? How much of it was Arkansas was doing? And I didn't get a chance to talk to you about what I saw in film afterwards, because that was Tuesday that I went and looked at it. I was really intrigued with what Barry Odom did. He ran a three-man front and often just one linebacker in the middle of the formation. And he set the edge really, really hard with the other linebackers/safeties. And so what he did is that those outside linebackers were outside the tackles, probably 3 yards off wide, 4 yards deep. And what he was doing was two things. He's like, I'm telling you that I'm staying outside on both sides, and we're not going to let Jaden Daniels and those design runs to happen. We're going to take that away. Secondly, we're really going to invite you to run the ball between the tackles because we're going to play wide. By alignment, they wanted to show you that, and so often pushing the ball in between the tackles. And once the ball was snapped, you saw some late movement, and they shot the gap and took some chances and dialed up some blitzes, trying to wreak havoc on that running game. And Brian Kelly talked a little bit about the press conference, which made me want to go look at the film. So I'm interested to see, does UAB follow suit? They're more of a four-man front, but they do mix and play some three-man front. And do they do the same thing and play this wide front seven that is trying to discourage LSU from getting to the edge? You go back to Florida State, we saw a bear front and inside penetration, and they really pressed on that. LSU countered and started getting Daniel onto some design runs off the zone read, and now we've seen this whole thing evolve a little bit. So, yes on Daniels and get better performance out of him, and I'm interested to see if UAB copies and pastes what Arkansas did.
I don't know if UAB will, but you can bet Texas A&M certainly will. Georgia, I don't know. You tell me. Georgia doesn't really have to scheme for anybody. They think they're the best defense in the country, and, well, most of the time, I mean, they really have been. So I don't know if Georgia's going to, show them something similar a couple of weeks from now in Atlanta, but you tell me.
Well, to be seen. I mean, Georgia's a different animal. I do think Texas A&M, who's very good in their front seven, right, that will do some of that. And, again, it was effective. And so the question I have, how much of it was that LSU just had an off day and Daniels had an off day? That's some of it. And how much of it was really, this is a good schematic way to go at what LSU's done so well in that three-game stretch against, Florida, Ole Miss, and Alabama.
And not only can you use Josh Williams here if they're going to spread you out that much, and he did have a really nice game against Arkansas last week, but it seemed like the quarterback draw would be in play. If they're going to go split you that wide, then Jaden Daniels is certainly capable of running in the middle of the field.
No doubt. I mean, and they're inviting you to the numbers screen that you want to keep the ball between the hashes and run. Some of it was that I'll also say Arkansas's defensive line outplayed LSU's offensive line. I thought they were physical, they were aggressive, they got to they were able to make some plays up there. And then with that alignment, Barry Odom was able to stun and bring some pressure packages as well. So yeah, what are the adjustments? Is UAB going to copy and paste? It's a copycat thing. They'd be silly not to, especially with the conditions tonight. You figure it's going to be more of a running evening with it raining and the field being wet. And then how does LSU adapt?
I'm going to ask you one special teams question. This may be from out of left field, but I got this from a listener during the week, and it kind of, piqued my attention. Kayshon Boutte at the beginning of the season would have never been considered to be a punt returner. He was too important to what they were doing. He's the number one player on the team, and risking him back there would have been, probably foolhardy. Now, though, that LSU really hasn't gotten any production out of. They've gotten to the point where they're fielding punts, but they're still not getting any production out of there. And Boutte has not had, the type of year that we thought he would. Any thought to maybe, hey, put him back there, and maybe this is a way to get the ball in his hands?
Well, I mean, if this was the week normally to do it, would be this week, right? That you'd experiment a little bit. I mean, they resigned to going back there and fair catching. But look, I think that. He would have been somewhere already had worked at that position some, and I went out there this week, and he had, right? I mean, they started off with obviously Neighbors, and that didn't work out against Florida State, and he's been out of the mix, and they've had a lot of people back there. I just think at this point you are who you are, and look, I mean, you're not in it. There's no positive plays. But there are no negative plays ever. If you guys comfortable fair catching, go ahead and do that. No sense of making that switch now. Tonight it's going to rain, so this isn't a great place to test it. Nor is Kyle Field, and nor is in Atlanta for the SEC championship. I think who you are is who you are on that right now.
Yeah, it was just an idea. I didn't hate it. Don't figure it's going to happen, but I didn't hate it. How might the rain affect how they call plays tonight? Anything that how bad's the wind going to be? Is it actually going to be raining during the game? All that stuff.
Well, we'll see. I think again, wet ball, a passing. Look, wet field and not raining. I think it favors the offense. We've talked about that obviously many times. That the receiver knows where they're going. The defense has to react. It's tougher to split on that, and a wet ball makes it a little bit more complicated. So I think maybe you're a little bit more conservative with what you do offensively. But I think the overriding theme tonight for Mike Denbrock is how do I get Jane Daniels comfortable back in a rhythm and we get on the front foot. They had that offense was on the front foot for 3 weeks and they were playing on their heels against Arkansas, and Arkansas was really dictating pace. How does he change it to get back where they were?
The last one is your play calling in plus territory with the weather conditions tonight. You're more apt to go for it, I would think. Be tough kicking conditions tonight.
Yeah. Same there. I mean, Brian Kelly's already aggressive, but I think the whole operation is going to be a little messy. And then we'll see once I get on the field. They had a chance to put the tarp out there. The tarp out there. What sort of conditions Tiger Stadium field? The good thing it's been pretty dry, and the field has held up. So we'll see.
There's a tarp.
Is there? I
didn't think so. When you said tarp, there's no tarp.
It's a big tarp.
No, there's no tarp. So that field is taken. Whatever has fallen here in the last however many hours, and we still got what is our LeBare's countdown to kickoff is 4.5 hours. So whatever it's going to take between now and then, there's no
right. I'm with you. There's no tarp. I'm wrong in saying that. Now that you speak out right, I am wrong. So it is, and it goes back to when they dug up that field and had the drainage going. I'm absolutely wrong on that.
Hydrate with warm things, chicken broth, the hot chocolate. Yeah, I mean whatever they got on the sideline, gas up and Godspeed. We'll see you in the post game. I'll bring a beach towel for you.
Thank you. We'll see you.
Thanks, Corey. Listen. I'm laughing with him because
yes, of course, not at him. Yes, for sure.
Well, I called games for 8 years in the old Alec Box Stadium.
Oh yeah.
And believe me when I tell you, February at the old we call it the Ice Box. Okay, so I've called games in bad conditions before. It's challenging. That's all I can tell you.
The good old open-air press box of the old Alec Box Stadium.
Yeah, it wasn't even really a press box. It was more like bleachers. But, yes. It was quite cold. Presented by LouisianaCharterFishing.com. The catch and cook fishing experience is happening until the end of the regular season. At the end of the season, one grand prize winner, we're getting close, will be randomly selected and notified. They'll enjoy lodging in a charter fishing trip for themselves and a friend along with special guest chef Jay Ducote. The crew will enjoy a full day of fun on the water, get to go catching with one of Louisiana's best captains. Better weather than today. After fishing, the grand prize winner and their guests will head back to the camp with Chef Jay for an unforgettable cookout and dinner for all. Once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for anybody who loves fishing, food, and fun. And entering to win is easy. All you have to do is visit GoCatch.com and complete the registration form. That's GEAUX catch.com. And there'll also be 5 runners-up selected to win a LouisianaCharterFishing.com prize pack valued at $100. LouisianaCharterFishing.com. We'll take a break. Jimmy Ott, when we come back, we'll recap what's already been a really intriguing day in college football. That's next here from Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Don't have time for cold or flu?
I don't have time for the cold or the flu.
We're here to help with easy, convenient online check-in, virtual visits, or walk-in care. When you don't have time to be sick, feel better faster at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours. Do you think you have COVID-19?
I'm worried I may have COVID.
We're open 7 days a week for both rapid COVID and antibody testing. Life is busy. You don't have time. Get your results fast at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it.
98.1. The First South Farm Credit College Football Scoreboard. First South Farm Credit. Financing farms and land since 1916.
We start with games in progress. It has been a trying day for favorites and for big favorites. Georgia leads Kentucky, but it's only they have scored again now. It was 6-0. They have scored to make it 13-0, I believe. Is that score? And no, it's still 6-0. Okay, 6-0. Georgia and Kentucky. And there's about 3 minutes to go in the first half. So tough day for number one so far. And we'll tell you about some of the other favorites that are struggling later on in the scoreboard. Number 15, Kansas State leading West Virginia 41-25. That game is late in the third quarter. Also in the third quarter, Washington State leads Arizona 31-6. Starting the fourth quarter, Houston leads East Carolina 35-3. Other third quarter scores, Memphis leads North Alabama 52-0, and James Madison with a 1-point lead over Georgia State 35-34. Oregon State, ranked number 23 in the country, leads Arizona State 28-7. That game's got about one play left to go in the third quarter. Starting the second half, number 18 Notre Dame all over Boston College, 37-0. App State leads Old Dominion 27-0. Now we go to second quarter scores. Number 2 Ohio State leads Maryland, but again here only 7-6. That game's about 4 minutes in to quarter number 2. Number 9 Clemson is up on Miami 21-0. That game's about halfway through the second quarter. Number 11 Penn State leads Rutgers 14-10. That game has just started the second quarter. Louisville leads number 24 NC State 3-0. 4 minutes to go to the half there. Texas leading Kansas 17-0. 17-6 now as Kansas has just scored. Extra point to come. 7.5 minutes to go to the break there. Texas Tech leads BYU 13-7. Southern Miss leads. I'm sorry, Utah Tech. Did I say Texas Tech?
You did, but there's a school, Utah Tech's in place.
I
never even heard
I
of
just
Utah
said
Tech
I
until
just
right
said
now.
Texas Tech. I wasn't paying attention to that one either. Southern Miss leads South Alabama. Anyway, Utah Tech, whoever that is, leads BYU 13-7. Southern Miss leads South Alabama 10-3. Again, these are second quarter scores. Troy leads UL Monroe 6-0. Charlotte leads Louisiana Tech 9-7. Middle Tennessee leads Florida Atlantic 21-7. First quarter scores, Cincinnati, ranked 25th in the country, leads Temple 7-0. Iowa leads Minnesota 3-0. 7 minutes to go in the first quarter there. The lowest total I have ever seen posted on a college football game. 31.5 it closed at. Not a lot of offense expected today in Minneapolis. UTEP leads Florida International 13-0. Auburn leads Western Kentucky 7-0 first quarter. Tank Bigsby with the early touchdown for Auburn. Earlier finals today. Number 3 Michigan beat Illinois 19-17. A field goal with 9 seconds to go. The margin of victory for the Michigan Wolverines. Had they lost that, well, you want to talk about chaos. If they lose that and they beat Ohio State next week, but Michigan survives 19-17. Number 4 TCU survives. Field goal on the last play of the game. And when I tell you the last play of the game, Sonny Dykes really rolled the dice here. They were in position to kick what would have been, before they ran the last play, I think it was a 47, 48-yard field goal. There was 17 seconds to go. They didn't have any timeouts left, and it was third down. So they run the ball into the middle of the field, and now they gotta go fire drill because they can't spike it because it's fourth down, and they don't have any timeouts left. So they come out there, and the kid hits a field goal on the last play of the game as the clock expires. And I mean, they snap they snap it with about 3 or 4 seconds to go. Unbelievable ending.
It was impressive that everybody was able to get set on that field goal unit.
Yeah. Many things can go wrong there.
Yeah. You're asking for it to go wrong when you do something like that.
And Sonny Dykes, calm as he could be after the game, said, "Oh, we practice it every Thursday. You know, we're fine." So TCU survives. They beat Baylor 29-28 on a field goal as the clock runs out. Number 8 Alabama kind of sleepwalking most of the day through Austin Peay 34-0. Number 19 Florida State beat UL Lafayette 49-17. Navy upset number 20 UCF 17-14. Mississippi State an easy win over East Tennessee State 56-7. Texas A&M beat UMass 20-3. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that the attendance record at Kyle Field was not broken today, unless they have the lowest attendance ever recorded at Kyle Field.
You know, they announced 90,000 for that game.
That's tickets sold. That's
yeah,
tickets sold.
and there wasn't anywhere close to that in that building.
I'm not joking when I tell you that the pictures I saw, there weren't 9,000 people.
No, I'm for real.
Yeah, these some of the pictures that are floating around right now were second half pictures. You got a lousy team, you got a lousy opponent. The weather there not quite as bad as it here, but certainly not a sunshiny day in College Station. There's going to be a race to the transfer portal when the clock hits 0 against LSU. This is the bad time at Texas A&M right now. Vanderbilt beat Florida 31-24. Got to hand it to the Commodores. They've beaten Florida one time since 1989. Okay, and this was no fluke. They ran the ball up and down the field on the Gators today. Anthony Richardson rallied Florida late, but it was too little, too late. Vanderbilt gets the win after losing 26 straight SEC games. Now they're on a 2-game win streak.
Don't let them get hot, baby.
We have research working on when's the last time Vandy won 2 SEC games in a row. We're thinking James Franklin.
It has to be, right?
I'm thinking we got to look that up.
9-3 under him, so you think.
If they were playing somebody normal next week instead of Tennessee, they'd have a great chance to get bowl eligible. Tennessee's on a rampage now, trying to impress the pollsters. So you're not going to get a lackluster effort from the Vols next week. So Vandy's not going to beat them. But you got to give Clark Lee some credit here. He took a lot of heat when he said, "Listen, we want to be the best program in the country." Which, okay, listen, we understand. But what else is he supposed to say? He's the head coach at Vanderbilt. They're better now than they were, 2 months ago, and they started the season with a couple of wins.
I'll tell you this, they definitely have Tennessee's attention now for sure. I mean, Josh Heupel's you're right, they want to impress the pollster and everything, but you've got plenty to motivate your team now that they've won 2 straight to where you don't sleepwalk through that one.
Army beat UConn 34-17. It was Virginia Tech late score to beat Liberty 23-22. Wisconsin edged Nebraska 15-14. Couple of interim coaches in that game. Wisconsin gets bowl eligible for Jim Leonard with that win. Nebraska falls to 3-8 on the season. Cornhuskers had the lead for 59 minutes and 30 seconds, something like that. I'm telling you, it's been one of those days in college football. Purdue beat Northwestern 17-9. Indiana beat Michigan State 39-31. That one went to overtimes. Pittsburgh turned back a 2-point conversion to stave off Duke 28-26. And Texas San Antonio beat Rice 41-7. Games coming up later on. 4 o'clock kickoff for Arkansas State and Texas State. 4:30 kickoff for Georgia Tech at number 13 North Carolina. 4:30 kickoff. They call it the big game. Stanford and Cal. This is the 40-year anniversary of the band is on the field.
Really, is it?
40-year anniversary of that. Marshall and Georgia Southern kick at 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock kickoff for number 5 Tennessee at South Carolina. Texas Tech at Iowa State. Boise State at Wyoming. 6:30 kickoff for number 14 Ole Miss at Arkansas. Tricky spot here for Ole Miss. A tricky spot. They're calling KJ Jefferson one more of these game time decisions, but we'll see if he gets out there. One of the last editions of Bedlam in Norman tonight, number 22 Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. They'll play one more of these for sure, and then that might be it. Bad blood between these two ordinarily. When Oklahoma left the conference and said Bedlam will be no more, Oklahoma State was less than pleased. So you got this one, you got one in Stillwater next year, and that might be it. If they can get into the league, into the SEC by 2024, which they're getting closer. The playoff is almost done. All they got to do is get the Rose Bowl in line. The playoff's going to be done for 24. Ross Dellinger had this story this morning or late yesterday that everything is in line except the Rose Bowl for the college football playoffs to take place in 2024 instead of 2026. They do that. You want to talk about light a fire under the behind of the Southeastern Conference to get Oklahoma and Texas in for 2024, get that new format. So if all that happens, you got maybe one more edition of Bedlam. By the way, Spencer Sanders says he is playing in that game. Starting quarterback for Oklahoma State has been ailing. New Mexico State is at Missouri. 7 o'clock kickoff at the Rose Bowl. This ought to be entertaining. Number 7 USC and number 16 UCLA ain't going to finish 3-0. Okay? Ain't going to finish
77 right now for the totals that I'm looking at.
If Iowa and Minnesota is the poster child for low scoring, then if you like points, tune in at the Rose Bowl. Syracuse is at Wake Forest. 8 o'clock kickoff for Colorado at number 17 Washington. Colorado State at Air Force. 8:45 kickoff for San Jose State and Utah State. 9:30 kickoff for number 10 Utah and number 12 Oregon. Bo Nix, a game-time decision for the Ducks. Late games, 9:30 kickoff also for Fresno State and Nevada. 10 o'clock kickoff for UNLV and Hawaii. And that is your college football scoreboard. We're here at Rouse's. Download the mobile app for curbside delivery, all your tailgating supplies, and also all of your Thanksgiving needs here at Rouse's. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day Scouting Report. Presented by Demco. Demco, powering lives, brightening the future.
And welcome back in. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. We are live from Rouse's on Burbank and Lee. An 8 p.m. kickoff tonight for LSU and UAB, the home finale senior night. Get a closer look at a couple guys from UAB. Welcome in Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, for our scouting report. Jim, appreciate the time as always. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great, Matt. Doing great.
Look, they love their night games here, Jim, but 8 p.m. might be a tad aggressive for the UAB game. But one guy for UAB that we have heard a lot about from the moment Brian Kelly stepped to the podium on Monday afternoon is running back Dwayne McBride. Now, he's a junior, so not really someone you're looking at for the Senior Bowl, but in NFL circles, he's pretty hard to miss as he's the nation's leading rusher.
Yeah, he's a guy the NFL is well aware of. He's on the radar for sure because I've had a lot of NFL scouts reach out to me and ask if he's going to be eligible to play in our game, which juniors can if they graduate. So a lot of guys have been reaching out to know if we know the graduation status of Mr. McBride, and unfortunately for us, he's not. But I do know this, just watching them play live a couple times over the last couple of years. He is a really instinctive runner. He sees it well, and he's hard to get on the ground. He's a hard-running guy. So, he is an SEC level back. He is certainly a draftable back. He's probably going to go in the middle rounds. Running back is a really hard position to project right now just because the league's kind of waiting on those guys. The position's been a little devalued over the years. But he's an NFL running back, so he could play in the SEC. He's a guy that the LSU defense is used to facing on most Saturdays, and probably better than most of the guys that face in the SEC this year.
It'll be a good test for the LSU front that's gotten a lot of work here in the past few weeks on the defensive side. Speaking of the defensive side, flip to UAB's defensive backfield, and you find Starling Thomas there, a hometown guy from Birmingham, prepped there, now plays his college ball there, and the speed seems to really stick out with this cornerback.
It does, yeah. Starling is another guy that's firmly on NFL radars right now. He's firmly on our Senior Bowl radar. With him being in the state, and you talked about the speed, and it's certainly real. The guy was a 10-400 meter guy coming out of high school, which usually equates to, at minimum like a low 4.4, but probably more somewhere in the 4.3 range. So usually when you play a mid-major level program like that, a school like LSU would think they have a real speed mismatch issues down the perimeter where they can take advantage of. But that will not be the case when guys like Dre Jenkins will be matched up against Starling Thomas, because the kid can really, really run, and he's got good cover skills. Right now, for most teams, he's a late draftable player, probably like in the 6th or 7th round. That's where teams usually take a shot on speed guys, and Starling's going to be that. So yeah, that'll be a good matchup to watch.
Jim, I wanted, since we had a little bit of time to kind of shift back to earlier in the year, it might have been as early as week 2 when we talked about some guys y'all were keeping an eye on for LSU. It was a pretty extensive list, maybe just how some stocks have risen or fallen over the years so far, whether it be for injuries or whatnot. But before that, I have noticed that y'all are already starting to hand out some early invites to the Senior Bowl. How does the invite process work, where you start kind of in early November, but it keeps going? What constitutes the early invite as opposed to the later invites?
Well, the early ones, and we usually move on about 100 players right out of the gate. Those are guys we feel really good about as a staff, just between our evaluations and then the NFL's evaluations. Guys that are really safely draftable, and we do like to leave some roster spots open for guys that play their way in. And again, a lot of it too is just talking to college coaches, and they don't want their players to take the foot off the gas when they get a Senior Bowl invite. They want these guys to feel like they're still playing for something. So that's why we like to keep some spots open for guys that maybe didn't get a first wave invite. But yeah, there's over 100 invites out the door right now. You're seeing a lot of those roll in. We don't have commitments from the LSU guys yet, because I don't believe the LSU guys have received their invites yet. So we're waiting on those. Maybe those will happen here after we get through this UAB game.
So a couple of the LSU guys I did want to circle back to, just kind of maybe how without giving away too much, obviously, but maybe kind of how they're viewed still as opposed to the beginning of the season now here with 2 games left in the regular season. And one guy I really wanted to focus on was Ali Gay, because when Ali got here 2 years ago, it was with plenty of fanfare, and the way he started, in 2020 against Mississippi State was off the charts, but it's just kind of been a slow progression there. And while the stats don't jump off the page this year, he's had a really solid season for LSU off the edge. Is the feeling kind of still the same as it was earlier in the year on Ali?
Yeah, I think the big thing for Ali is what it's going to come down to after talking to NFL teams. I think his medical report is going to be pretty highly scrutinized just based off some past injuries. But there's not many defensive linemen in this year's class that are better looking physically. When I was at the Dome in New Orleans for that Florida State game, you go down on the field and you see this guy, and he looks like $1 million. So he looks exactly like you want him to look. He definitely has tools. I think that teams that really buy into Ali and and the upside of the physical potential, we'll just point to Danielle Hunter. Because, when Hunter was coming out of LSU, I was still working for the Seahawks, and I remember having those conversations that, he didn't have a lot of production, and you were really banking on the physical traits. And now I think Hunter's going to help his cause because we've seen what he's become. He's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. And the NFL has become more and more of a traits league. You're looking for big, long, explosive athletes. And so I think teams, there's still plenty of interest in Ali. I think he's going to be a good player at the next level. I think where he gets drafted, some of that will be dependent upon how this medical stuff comes out.
Man, the Danielle Hunter, that's a great point. Jim, that's honestly like a running joke around here is, Danielle Hunter played at LSU, but not that Danielle Hunter. That Danielle Hunter did not play here, but he has definitely had a fantastic career with the Minnesota Vikings. And then, look, Jay Ward, I feel like, has got to be one whose stock just maybe continues to rise. I mean, I know we've talked about him a lot in this segment, whether it be how he matches up with the opposing team or just him in general, but I know y'all featured him multiple times on the social medias. Is it fair to say his stock has maybe risen this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you don't want to scout the helmet too much, but there are certain position groups across college football that certain schools have cranked out, really good players at respective positions, and LSU DBs being one of them. I think that, the back and forth is probably between LSU and Ohio State. It seems like those fan bases want to stake the claim as DBU. That will help Jay. There's been a lot of guys come before him that have not only been high draft picks, but more importantly, have become really good NFL players. And, now he's got versatility, proving he can play in the slot. He's played from depth at safety over his career. And like we've talked about on the show before, I think teams are just going to buy into his play style. If you draft him and he doesn't start right away, he is going to be a really good special teams player just based off the way he throws his body around and the recklessness that he plays with. So, he's certainly helped himself this year. There's no doubt about that.
And then the last thing I'm just curious of, this is kind of like an overall thing with the Senior Bowl. And, I mean, there's a couple of guys, obviously, that you could look at on LSU's team that I know y'all were aware of that maybe this is impacted. But when somebody gets injured or is suffering through a couple nagging injuries or whatnot through the season, does that impact maybe how y'all view them in terms of getting an invite to the game? Or is it one of those things like, hey, look, you've got the potential, you've got all the tools, you're a little banged up, come play here and showcase in front of scouts and maybe get noticed? Or is that something that maybe you can get dinged for a little bit?
Yeah, the injury part is one thing that's harder for us because we don't have an NFL budget, right? Like we're not a billion-dollar organization or multi-billion-dollar organization like these NFL teams are. So we're not in the schools every single day. We're not meeting with trainers every day and position coaches that, again, a lot of stuff doesn't hit the media. And you could be watching tape on a player and he's going through a 3 or 4 game stretch where he doesn't look his best. And then if you're at the school, maybe someone will tip you off. Well, hey, he's been battling through this, or he's, his knee's dinged up. That's where when we go to games on Saturdays and maybe we're not seeing a guy's progression on tape, those are questions we like to ask. But certainly injury plays a part in a player's evaluation. You have to know that. Again, if there's a decline in production or a dip in play on tape, a lot of times it is due to an injury. It's a violent sport. These guys get banged up, especially this time of year. None of these players are feeling anywhere close to optimum. So, no, that's a good question. Injuries definitely play a part in it.
He is Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl. They're handing out invites and having some being returned and confirming players for the game. It's always an exciting time down there in Mobile. Jim, we appreciate the time for another week. Tigers head to College Station next week, and we'll do it again for the season finale. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
Absolutely. That is Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl. Follow him on Twitter at JimNagy_SB. You can follow the Senior Bowl at Senior Bowl. We'll grab a break, come back from Rouse's on Burbank and Lee, continuing to count you down. LSU, UAB, the home finale in Tiger Stadium. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Get a free roof inspection by Garcia Roofing. GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
WDGL and HD1 Baton Rouge.
Don't have time for cold or flu?
I don't have time for the cold or the flu.
We're here to help with easy, convenient online check-in, virtual visits, or walk-in care. When you don't have time to be sick, feel better faster at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours. Do you think you have COVID-19?
I'm worried I may have COVID.
We're open 7 days a week for both rapid COVID and antibody testing. Life is busy. You don't have time. Get your results fast at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Off the bench on Game Day. Off the Bench is heard weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from OTB, here's T-Bob Hebert.
The LSU Fighting Tigers have officially stamped their ticket to Atlanta. That's right. How the West was won. So we're getting in the game Saturday at Arkansas, as it appears that for all my high-minded talk of it not being a trap game, it ended up being a trap game. But Jake, if you're like a bear in the woods or a fox or a human on an alien planet, what is the goal when you find yourself caught in a trap? You know what the goal is? The goal is to survive, okay? I don't care what it is. I got that bear trap on my leg. I just ain't going to die here today. That's all I'm looking to do. And that's exactly what LSU did on Saturday. They survive thanks to great defense and thanks to Harold Perkins. You could watch football your entire life, Jake, and maybe never see a defensive performance this dominant, especially on a per-pass rush basis.
I really, and I said it on Twitter, I've run out of things to say about him, in superlatives to use when talking about him. It's remarkable. I mean, he graded out in the SEC as a freshman, rushing the passer this week at 94%. And his grade for the year when rushing the passer is 92% in the SEC. 92%.
Oh, my God.
It's I hate comparing people, but he comes off the edge, and I had to block this guy in practice every day, like Von Miller.
That bend. That bend was very Von Miller-esque.
The way he can move his body and not break speed.
Yeah,
it's remarkable. And Von's not a huge guy. Von is not Terrell Suggs or James Harrison or one of these 6'4". No, but Von's strong as hell, and he's fast, and Perk can be that. And I hate using comparables, but like that's who
that bend was Von Miller though.
It is.
That was insane.
The comparison there is it's just what he's doing at 18 years old, and also like once he gets there, knowing what to do, knowing to swipe for the ball, knowing angles and knowing rush lanes and knowing your spot where you're supposed to rush. It's the spy stuff. Like if that was just the only thing we were talking about, like that would be impressive. I mean, you're talking about
He's the best QB spy in the country,
and you're talking about a track star in Hornsby.
So that's what somebody in chat at Whiskey and Wine told us, that Hornsby was the anchor on the nation's leading 4x100 high school team in high school.
Yes.
So like
the best
he
in
is
the country.
supposed to be faster than anybody else on the field,
and he wasn't. the one where he has to fight. He takes a little bit of an angle where he gets a little bit too far upfield, but then he fights through traffic and still hawks that guy down. The guy that anchors the 4x1 team that had the best time in the country. I've really, honestly, I've run out of things to say about him because it's just something we've never seen.
We haven't even mentioned UAB yet. I suppose we should. You love mid-level college sports. What? Give us like a very basic scouting, or just give us what you know. I'm not even going to ask you for a scouting report. Like, what do you know about the Blazers this year?
So UAB was the team that I thought would win the Conference USA. It was really between them and UTSA. UTSA has lived up to their portion of it. They're 6-0 in conference play, 8-2 overall, including a close loss against some Power 5 teams. And then you look at UAB, they have not held up their end of it. They're 3-4 in conference play. They're 5-5 overall. When you look at what they've done over the last 4 weeks, they've lost 3 of 4. You lose on the road to Western Kentucky. You lose on the road to Florida Atlantic. You lose to that UTSA team. Now, all those games were one-score games, right? So they're not getting blown out by any means, but they're losing close games. They did get a win over North Texas last week, 41-21. Dwayne McBride's the story of this team. He's their running back. He's got 1,400 yards already, 17 touchdowns on the year. He was somebody that everyone knew coming into the year, so it's not a surprise. He didn't come out of nowhere or anything like that. But when you look at what he's been able to do, he's going to run for over 100 yards in almost every game that he plays. He ran for 200 against Western Kentucky. When you go and you look at some of the teams that they played,
LSU can hold him under 100?
It would be a feat. I mean, look, here's the and he didn't I think he missed the first couple of games. Here's his season so far. 177 against Liberty, 223 against Georgia Southern, 121 against Rice, 120 against Middle Tennessee, 137 against Charlotte, 200 against Western Kentucky, 168 against Florida Atlantic, 141 against UTSA, and 120 against North Texas.
So what are we looking at quarterback-wise? Is this very much a shut him down and, cut off the head of the snake and the body follows situation?
I mean, he's definitely the story. Like, that's kind of been one of their issues. Dylan Hopkins is their quarterback.
I like our interior defensive line. I'll take Mekhi Wingo and Jaqueline Roy and Ollie Gay, how he's been playing against the run, B.J. Ojolari, Micah Baskerville, and Greg Penn. Like, this could be I would love to see Greg Penn build off of what he did last week.
This would be a great game to him for him to build off of, to your point, because it feels like maybe his style of game. When you look at the quarterback I mentioned, Dylan Hopkins, the most attempts he has this year is 27. He usually averages somewhere in the high teens as far as attempts, so they're not going to throw it a ton. He will run it a little bit. He does have a game against Charlotte. Charlotte fired their coach already this year. He had 10 for 103.
It's impressive.
What?
How do you know that? Charlotte fired their coach.
Will Haley was the coach?
Who?
Yep.
I don't know. Does LSU cover the 14.5? Because it feels a little low. No, I didn't ask you if they cared, but there are a lot of people that do. I know you don't bet on LSU games.
I don't.
But a lot of us do.
Mm-hmm.
And 14.5 feels low, especially considering you got an LSU offense that I got to imagine is a little bit, wanting to bounce back.
So UAB, again, going back to it, like they're not the team that we thought they would be coming into, or at least I had them again. I had them winning the championship in their conference. Now, all of their losses, every single one of their losses has been by one score, even against Liberty, 21-14. But still, like LSU's not Rice. LSU's not Western Kentucky or Florida Atlantic or UTSA, right? LSU is a better team than that. So 14 points, 17 points, in that range seems about right. That's why the line's at 14.5. If they won 35-14, wouldn't be surprised and cover there. So I would say if you asked me to bet on LSU, yes, they would cover.
Okay, there we go.
Plus, I mean, UAB, look, we all remember when Coach Saban was here, UAB came into Tiger Stadium, beat LSU.
No, there's only one mid-major team that I fear, and it's Troy. Okay? If you're not Troy, I'm not overly concerned.
Just saying. They now, I don't know
they
if
do have a tight mask.
I don't know if any of the players were actually born when that happened. Maybe a couple of them.
Harold Perkins wasn't.
I mean, I'm trying to think.
Harold Perkins made. I mean, literally none of the freshmen were born.
No, because Harold Perkins was born in 2004.
Oh, and this would be 2000.
My freshman year.
This would be 2000.
Yeah, it's 2000. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So actually, outside of the upperclassmen,
Baskerville's been here. I think he played at Evangel with me. He's been here. I mean,
but yeah, honestly, like outside of the upperclassmen, the entirety of LSU may not have been born when they last lost.
Wow. When I said Harold Perkins was born the year I came to LSU, it hurt worse than I thought it would.
What do you think the crowd's going to be for this 8 o'clock kickoff? Because my deal is like, it's a bit of a mixed bag, right? Because you want to honor this team, ideally, right? And normally, I feel like in LSU history, when you've had a great team, people show up no matter what the game is. And the stadium's pretty much going to be full. But
last home game.
It is the last home game as well. But it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
At 8 o'clock at night.
Very late.
Not a great opponent. You know, the traffic thing looms very large in all adults' minds nowadays.
Although it's much better. They've done a much better job.
Have they really?
Oh, it's so much better.
See, I have no
if you get out in time.
Okay.
Like the games that I've left, and I've stayed for Ole Miss, I stayed for Alabama, the full length of the game, I was home in 15 minutes.
Well, Alabama, isn't that a bit of an outlier, though? Because I know a few dads who pulled the forget rushing the field, we're rushing the parking lot.
For sure.
And everybody was home in like 15 minutes.
And Ole Miss was kind of the same situation.
Yeah, they rushed the field too. Okay.
The students did.
Yeah, that's true. But a soft rush.
A little soft rush.
A soft rush.
So on off campus on Fridays, Bobby and I play What's the Ticket, and we go across the top 25. And I've played this ever since I've hosted radio. And what's the cheapest top 25 game to get into? What's the most expensive top 25 game to get into? LSU is kind of in the middle there. So if you're like trying to find $25,
okay,
you can get a ticket as low as $25.
I think that is a good sign, though.
To give you an example, like Austin Peay in Alabama, $7. UL Lafayette and Florida State, $17. Oregon State, Arizona State, $19. So about
Oregon
there
State,
in the middle of the pack,
State.
like Miami, Clemson, $32.
Yeah, no, I take that as a good sign. Yeah. If LSU UAB is still up there.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. With safety
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Otter Locks. Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs. Now, here's Jimmy Ott.
And we bring in Jimmy on what has been a wild day so far, and it's continuing in college football. Jimmy, how you doing?
Doing good, Charlie.
Michigan at the gun. TCU at the gun. Ohio State trailing at the half, and Georgia a lead at halftime against Kentucky, but no touchdowns for the number 1 ranked Bulldogs in Lexington today. So it's been a rough go for the favorites. So you can just kind of see this coming, man. LSU may, win the game tonight, and I think they obviously will. But I'll be surprised if it's easy because nothing today in college football has been.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, it's a lot of escapes, and you forgot the first game early this morning in Central Florida.
Yeah.
After 2 impressive wins in a row against Memphis and Tulane, they come back and lose outright 17-14 to Navy, who's done nothing on the road all year this year. So now I still think by the tiebreaker, they'll play the winner of Tulane and Cincinnati next week in the conference championship game. But that was a big disappointing loss. And, man, note to your AD, don't schedule the military schools any earlier than you have to. They're used to getting up early. That was strange.
Yeah, no kidding. Let me ask you about TCU and Baylor, because this was one of the best college football games of the year. And TCU's Sonny Dykes, with confidence in his group, says, hey, we practice this every Thursday. They would have had a 47-yard field goal on 3rd down with about 17 seconds to go, but they run a play. They got to scramble a field goal unit out there. The 41-yarder is true. I mean, they executed it perfectly, and they stay unbeaten. That was unbelievable to see.
Yeah, it was. Man, did you see all the TCU fans or students getting in the end zone where it kind of landed? It was, I mean, they keep the dream alive. I mean, that team, and, I thought Aranda was really, really conservative, though. Run, scramble. TCU had all 3 timeouts. I mean, college football, man, all you got to do is get it past the stick. He left way too much time because as soon as they punted the ball, I gave the advantage to TCU. And, also, Dykes kind of played for the field goal too, Charlie. I mean, they could have. He had confidence in his kicker to play it like that as well. And, he drew that thing right down the middle, kind of started at the right upright, but drew in perfectly. You mentioned, Georgia and Kentucky. Kentucky has moved the ball a little bit today, but Levis, as we talked about, man, he makes big mistakes, and in the red zone, the interception where he's just late on the ball. It was intercepted easily by Georgia. So Kentucky surprisingly has been able to move the ball a little bit today at Commonwealth.
One more thing with the TCU game, he had missed an extra point.
Earlier,
and so
I forgot. Yeah.
So having confidence in your guy there, even after he had missed. Jimmy, Michigan, they get the ball back. Drive for the game-winning field goal. I thought it might be a flat spot, and Illinois might cover, but I never expected they would lead that deep into the game to get that down to the last 4 seconds at Ann Arbor today. Michigan clearly in a look-ahead spot, but they survive also.
Interesting strategy also about Jim Harbaugh. Down 4, he set up for the field goal. And who knows if they get it back. And I was listening to the Illinois broadcast team, and when they went 3 and out the next time, they were like, man, that's a disappointing series right there. So gave the ball right back. They put him in position again. But, the 3 field goal approach when he was down 7, 4, and then at the end paid off for Harbaugh. And, we actually discussed it earlier, Jacob and T-Bob and I earlier kind of off the air. And then liked Illinois. And I'm like, man, I don't know if Illinois is fading. The running back was a game-time decision. He did play, and he played very well again. But he hasn't banked up. He's had over 300 catches. And I was just wondering if that season was kind of wearing on them. Purdue moved the ball a lot last week on them in that win at Champaign. So they should have been undefeated. They got hosed on an early season Friday night game in Bloomington. But, man, I didn't see this performance out of Illinois after losing to Purdue and Michigan State the last 2 weeks.
Break up Vandy, huh? 2-game winning streak.
I mean, how about that, huh?
Wasn't flukish either, man. They had a game against Florida. Vandy rushed for 175 yards in the game. It's not like they got a bunch of turnovers or anything like that. They ran the football on Florida.
Yeah, if anybody can get a hold of BK, I mean, hey, that's a double-digit dog that won. Nebraska was a minute from being another. Navy was a double-digit dog that won. And we talked about the ones that, barely escaped, like Michigan. This has been a season where more double-digit dogs have won the games outright. Great for the books today. They bust up all of those money line parlays because these, Michigan a throw in, East Carolina. Central Florida a throw in. So it's and certainly Florida as well. Good call, Charlie, on your 5-pack because you had Vandy, and I like the pick. It wasn't one of mine, but I did like it when you said it. And Northwestern wasn't far from winning today against Purdue as well. So yeah, note to LSU. I mean, and I just think that LSU's flat spot was last week, though. A lot of people are talking about it, and usually, but man, I thought LSU was pretty flat last week in Fayetteville, and they still won. One guy that wasn't was number 40, and thank goodness for him. But I don't know if I think they got their righted their focus again. This game, these next 2 games don't matter for the conference championship, but they do keep them alive for the playoff hunt. They both mean the same, A&M and UAB. So it is a bit of a sharp play. So it has moved the line down. Look for the sandwich spot. I thought LSU exhaled last week at Fayetteville.
Let's talk about this Ohio State-Maryland game. Maryland leading by 3 at the half, and they have completely shut down Ohio State's running game. If you had told me, look, Tagovailoa is going to have, going to make some plays and they'll have a lead there. Okay, he's an excellent player, but I didn't think that Maryland would be able to shut down Ohio State on the ground. So this is a very surprise. Not just the score, which is obviously surprising, but how it has happened is a big surprise to me.
It's almost like you say Tagovailoa is a good player, but they had a goose egg last week against Penn State.
They did.
And, it's almost like it's the NFL this week where teams that really looked bad last week are bouncing back. We talked about Illinois earlier, talked about Maryland, kind of bouncing back. Kentucky losing to Vanderbilt, even though they're down 9-0. Look at the yardstick. I don't have it in front of me, but it's got to be closer than anybody anticipated. And so, Charlie, I'll be honest, I haven't seen much of that one. Kind of been in transit to New Orleans with my son. But, any type of lead for Maryland because that's another team that started hot. And when they went to Ann Arbor this year, they played toe-to-toe with Maryland. It was a very good game. Lil Tua went out with a couple of series because he was injured. And I thought that was a kind of almost game deciding when he came out. But, man, they have been on the slide lately, and that surprised me a lot. And Charlie, yes, Ohio State, Michigan, big game, maybe a semifinal or a quarterfinal to get into the playoffs. But they play that spot every year, and I sort of reduced the look-ahead angle on there. I was completely wrong.
Ole Miss and Arkansas going at 6:30 tonight. We're here at KJ Jefferson, another game time decision. So do with that what you will.
Yeah,
we've heard that before. A tricky spot, I think, for Lane Kiffin's group though, going to Fayetteville.
Don't you think that's a tough one where they outplayed Alabama to kind of put behind them from last week?
Absolutely.
I think very much so. And so Ole Miss traditionally struggles in Fayetteville also. I thought that, good luck with the quarterback they started last week again when 40's a spy. I mean, come on, good luck. And they still played LSU competitively. They have had a rough schedule, man. Playing in the SEC West, playing BYU and Provo, Cincinnati, and I'm forgetting Liberty. I mean, that's a tough schedule for Arkansas. But I like them because they're still playing hard. I do expect Jefferson because it was a game time decision last week. I think he will play this week. Today, knock on wood. But I like Arkansas in this spot, and especially in the first half. If Ole Miss can keep it close at half, they kind of may wake up. But I'm looking for them to get a very slow start, maybe even the first half line or first half wager on Arkansas today.
And that would be, different because Ole Miss played very well in the first half against Ole Miss and Alabama. Didn't score in the second half. It didn't score in the fourth quarter of either one of those games. So
how many times did they lose to Alabama but outplayed them?
Oh gosh, not usually Alabama. That's Alabama's series, except for the.
Come on, man! You're the historian. Come on, Charlie.
not too many. I wouldn't say not too many.
No. Yeah.
Two big games in the Pac-12 tonight. We got the USC UCLA game at the Rose Bowl, and then they're saying again another game time decision. They're saying game time decision on Bo Nix as Oregon hosts Utah in a late game on ESPN.
I sat in the Rose Bowl last year and heard the locals and heard the local media and my friends out in Las Vegas, Matt Human, met me there, and they said, man, you see what the Rose Bowl can be like when they can draw a crowd. And I'm like, huh? That was a good crowd? Really? They sold this thing out tonight, Charlie. And so when's the last time USC and UCLA played where they combined for this many wins? So it's going to be pretty fun. That was a strange deal with the surface last week of the Arizona-UCLA game where players were flipping and sliding all over the place. I mean, it's bizarre, but this is an overfest. This is a points fest. Although it did open 8-2 and was bet down by the early respected money to 76, I think this thing is going to be points galore. USC is played two teams that are barely ranked, in Utah and Oregon State. They struggled with both of them. I think that I like UCLA in this spot, and I like a lot of points. This is the game that UCLA was looking past last week when they got upset by Arizona.
Yeah, and the line hanging on Utah and Oregon, still Utah is a favorite. It's a 2-point favorite. When I thought Bo Nix was definitely going to play in this game, I loved Oregon. I think they were a 3-point favorite at the beginning of the week, and then this thing started to change on Thursday. Utah, we've talked about this a lot on the show, very, very different at home and on the road. But without Bo Nix, I can't. I can't. Can't make it.
He's been great. He's been great this year minus that Georgia game, and I mean he's kind of what Auburn hoped he would be because he is big, athletic, and got a lot of arm, and it just all came together. Now they don't have the defensive players in the Pac-12, so a little bit maybe dropping him down the class to use a horse racing term, and he's excelled great. But he makes it go. Matt Human called us on the show about 7 o'clock on Wednesday, let us know that he was not going to play, and from a pretty good source, and we got plus 2.5 at that point. It flipped to -2. It's not as big of a deal when it moves 4.5 points when you go. It's still under 3 both ways, but still, I'll take a look at my Utah play. But I really liked Oregon in this spot before Nick got scratched. I thought they were going to bounce back in a big way.
Who's bringing us Auto Locks?
Charlie, get to it right here. Loftus Staffing Services matches hard workers with the most sought-after employers. So often you're more than just another employee. Often cares about your interests and will
match you with a company that needs your skills. Loftus Staffing Services, we've been putting people to work since 1979. Loftus Staffing Services, 934-0200 and loftus.jobs.
Thanks, Jimmy. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Charlie. Thank you.
This weekend next year,
yeah,
LSU plays Georgia State.
Yeah.
What they should start working to do right now.
Okay.
I mean, right this second, get Virgil Osbury on the phone.
4:28 on November 19th.
Move Grambling to week 0.
Okay.
And move Georgia State to week 2.
Okay.
And put this week as
another bye.
As a bye, yeah, because LSU's going to need it because next year they're definitely going to the SEC championship game. Kelly will have everything in play. So you get you get a bye week before you play A&M, who will be breaking in a new coach, and then you play before the SEC championship game, right?
Yeah, no.
Tell me this is not a great idea.
I think it is. I mean, you don't have to convince me. I think this week stinks, so I'm all for it.
This is one of my great ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, and I've come up with a lot of great ideas over the years. I mean, this is one of the best. Somebody should get on this. Somebody should definitely get on this. We'll take a break here at Rouse's.
Remind you about Running Boards Marketing. They can help your business stand out with giant LED billboard trucks. They drive eye-catching ads advertising your business all around town. Impossible to miss. Get over to runningboardsmarketing.com. Check them out. See how they can help you out today.
Georgia 9-0 over Kentucky early in the second half. Bulldogs with the ball on Kentucky's side of the 50. We'll take a break. Rouse's, download the mobile app for curbside delivery. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Don't have time for cold or flu?
I don't have time for the cold or the flu.
We're here to help with easy, convenient online check-in, virtual visits, or walk-in care. When you don't have time to be sick, feel better faster at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours. Do you think you have COVID-19?
I'm worried I may have COVID.
We're open 7 days a week for both rapid COVID and antibody testing. Life is busy. You don't have time. Get your results fast at Lake Urgent Care.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day Scouting Report. Presented by Demco. Demco. Powering lives, brightening the future.
And we bring in Shea Dixon from On 3. Shea, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm inside right now. I'm keeping warm.
Wait. You don't want to go? You don't want to sit outside tonight? No.
No, actually, I can remember. Well, I still am. But when I was mad that this game was at 8 p.m., but now all day I've been very happy that I have not had to leave the house yet. So it's coming.
Yeah, I finally figured out what day this reminds me of, and this I probably shouldn't even say this out loud. This day reminds me very much of the last home game that Curly Holman ever coached against Southern Miss. It was a day just like this. It was cold. It was raining. The stadium was half empty, and that team was not good. This team is really good, but this is what the day reminds me of, and it's a tough spot in the schedule. So Shea, when your final home game of the regular season is a non-conference game, what does your visitor list look like, especially with the weather like this?
Yeah, non-conference game at 8 p.m. So it's not a bad list, and I'll tell you what, they'll have a number of the commitments in, which is always expected. A lot of the local guys and. Much of them, if they're still in the playoffs, were playing last night. So those guys all can easily kind of make it in. They do have one big official visitor, Jordan Hall, who defensive lineman out of Jacksonville. He's rated as the number 4 defensive lineman in the country. This is counting kind of interior guys, and then we rank the edge rushers separately. But uncommitted, top 30 player. A lot of people kind of always thought he was going to go to Georgia, but he's making a string of final visits right now before he announces. And LSU obviously gets this stop for the final home game of the season. And then what I do like they have is a ton on this list of guys that are expected to be in of the top guys in the state for next year. And that's kind of where you're at right now. Look, you're a month from the early signing period, but you've already got 25 commits. More than the bulk of your class is complete. The heavy lifting is done. And you start to peek ahead. Not so much peek ahead. You start to really take a few steps forward with next year's class. And this is your last chance to get those guys on campus before, for a game before they're seniors next year and the recruitments are kind of taken off. So, yes, a lot of juniors on this list.
Shea, I've been waiting to ask you this question for a few weeks. We'd have a little bit clearer of a picture of what the 2023 roster might look like, because now you can sign as many guys as you want, but you still got to stay under the 85. So I wonder if you've got a decent idea of what the transfer portal additions might look like, or at least how many spots they might want to leave for transfer portal guys. They may know some guys are going to leave. How many people that they want to bring in? I know Brian Kelly wants to do this mostly through the high school recruiting, but as you're signing guys here, what do you think might be a realistic number out of the transfer portal?
I would bet between 5 and 7 guys. And look, I took some time to do the math this week, and I got it to where if they signed 30 high school guys, which they have 25 committed now, and look, maybe not all of them stick, maybe you can only add a few more, so that number of 30 could go down. Then I just messed around with, hey, look, here's the super seniors, here's who's graduating, here's who's probably going to transfer, here's who's going to go pro. I think they're going to get themselves in a spot where they can kind of go 1-for-1 in the portal, meaning like each guy that they're losing, they're going to be able to replace with someone from the portal and stay under the 85. So I think it becomes all about position needs more than kind of an overall number even. And I think corner is one of the biggest. I mean, Bernard Converse, Garner, Banks, Richardson, all these guys were transfers. And I understand you could, get Richardson back potentially. People have kind of seem to think that Garner might be leaning towards leaving. The other guys are super seniors. You get 7 Banks back, on a medical, but I don't see much. Look, we haven't seen any of the guys behind them play. So I think they have to go heavy on corner again. I think that when you look around at the offense, you got quarterback probably settled, running backs probably settled, wide receivers, doesn't have a ton of guys, but you're good there. You're bringing in a nice class, and you pause right again at tight end, where I don't think that they have as many guys as they would want to have for Mike Denbrock's offense. So that'd be another. I'll say this, Charlie, though, on defense, everyone has said all year, as soon as Mason Smith went down, where's the D-tackle depth? And really, we've seen Roy and Wingo carry the torch there, and Jacoby McGillery is obviously a guy who could come back next year. We'll see what happens with Roy. They do have, though, this weekend on campus, a guy visiting. His name is Jacob Lacey, who entered the portal out of Notre Dame. I guess it was in October. Defensive tackle, played for Brian Kelly for 3 years, is from Kentucky. He's already taken a visit out to Kentucky, went to Oklahoma, Wake Forest. But we're not in the portal window right now, but he's already a college graduate. He's already got his degree from South Bend. He was just playing that extra year this year, ended up not playing more than 4 games and said, hey, if he hit the 4-game mark and said, look, I'm going to go ahead and enter the portal and save myself 1 more year. So we could see the portal start to heat up now. You know, you're a guy who's already graduated and you can kind of take part in looking around without having to be in that window that opens in December.
Was he a full-time starter at Notre Dame?
You know, he's played in 11 games a year for the first 3 years, but largely from what I've asked around, it was a lot of backup duty. So coming in kind of, you know, a rotational guy. And look, if you're a team in LSU who doesn't have a ton of deep depth, really, you've got some talent, you know, the top few guys, and you've only got one guy committed who's really good, Deron Reed, a top 50 player. You'll sign him soon, but you could take a rotational guy. And look, and this is a guy that a couple of people on the staff, including the head coach, probably know very, very well from recruiting him, signing him, and playing him for 3 seasons.
Shay, you put up what I thought was a really interesting tweet this week about guys that could walk tonight for senior night, but are not. Guys that you think are going to be back, and Jaden Daniels was on that list. So he's listed as a junior. He's a 4th-year guy, and the COVID year's got all of the classifications, you know, really in a spin. So you elaborate on that a little bit. Do you think that Jaden Daniels not walking tonight for senior night means that he is leaning towards coming back? Or am I reading too much into that?
I mean, we could be accurate, but also reading too much into it. You know, Brian Kelly said this week, hey, look, I think he said Thursday night, look, there'll be some guys the next couple of weeks and announce what they're going to do, and I'll let them do that on their time. And he's obviously talking about notable guys saying I'm going pro or I'm coming back. But look, Daniels, too, is like Bramplett. Bramplett wasn't on the list of guys out there. Well, they both actually already graduated college, so you could say, well, they're not going out there on senior night because they've already got a degree and, you know, they still got eligibility left, whatever it might be. I think separate from whomever's walking tonight or not, the buzz I've heard, and look, that can change. Everything can always change, obviously, is that it's more likely he would come back than leave, and I'm not sure that would be a surprise to anyone, right?
No, and he doesn't have to have his mind made up right this second. Like you said, there's still weeks to go here. He doesn't have to make a declaration if he doesn't want to for another almost 2 months, right? It's
January 18th, I think or the 16th is the deadline this year.
Yeah. Shay, I know you have considerable influence in a lot of different places. What can you do about getting this week's game moved to week 0 next year?
I don't have that much.
Asking for a friend.
Barely. Yes. I'll try. Golly. Now you've got. I told you earlier I wasn't mad about it. Now you're making me think about it again. And I'm seeing the rain.
I'm here to help.
Seeing the cold.
I'm here to help. I understand. It's hot in August. I know. It's hot in September too.
We're trying to celebrate a season that went better than we thought it did. Let the fans have their moments. You lead off with the Curly Hallman years, the bad weather. This is not helpful, Charlie.
I've put you in a mood, man.
He nailed that actually there.
Sorry. I think LSU's going to win. Look, Ohio State's taking the lead. Okay.
There we go.
And Georgia scored a touchdown. Order is being restored.
At least he didn't talk about the double-digit underdogs that have already won today.
I did that in the last segment.
He didn't bring that up,
We
Shay.
are turning the page right now. Everything's back to normal. Shay, what's coming up after the game on 3?
Yeah, we'll just be catching up with all the recruits that are here. And like I said, a number of underclassmen, the official visitor, Jordan Hall. We'll catch up with the Notre Dame transfer that's in town to see kind of what his thoughts are. And then the site's turned to A&M. So, yeah, it should be another busy week of news on the recruiting front.
Shay Dixon, as always, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, sounds great, guys. Thanks.
Shea Dixon from On 3. Presented by LouisianaCharterFishing.com. The Catch and Cook fishing experience is happening until the end of the regular season next week. At the end of the regular season, one grand prize winner will be randomly selected and notified. They'll enjoy lodging in a charter fishing trip for themselves and a friend, along with special guest Chef Jay Ducote. They'll enjoy a full day of fun on the water, get to go catching with one of LSU's best captains, and afterwards, the grand prize winner and their guests will head back to the camp with Chef Jay for an unforgettable cookout and dinner for all. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for anybody who loves fishing, food, and fun, and entering to win is easy. For a chance to win, all you have to do is visit gocatch.com. That's GEAUX catch.com and complete the registration form. There'll also be 5 runners-up. We'll get a LouisianaCharterFishing.com prize pack valued at $100. LouisianaCharterFishing.com. We'll take a break here at Rouse's. Our LaBerge countdown to kickoff, 3 hours and 15 minutes. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. After further review on Game Day, presented by the Grove Recovery Center. The Grove Recovery Center. Recovery designed for you. After further review is heard weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from AFR, here's Matt Moscona.
And we bring in Scone. Scone, good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, just enjoying a beautiful
fall Saturday here at Baton Rouge, guys. Hope you're doing great.
See, I'm trying to move on from the whole weather
Chamber
theme.
of Commerce
I mean,
Day, Hanny.
I'm trying to move on. I've done my week 0 campaign. I thought, but yeah, I mean, listen, I think I'm on to something here. I'm on to something here.
Look, I told you, I don't
really
need to be convinced about it. I like the idea.
Really do. Matt, we've watched some of the the powers in college football struggle today, and double-digit favorites, which like LSU is in some cases. Georgia and Ohio State have both seemingly gotten back on track, but it's just kind of got that feel, man, a little bit. I'm not sure if you feel it too, that this may not be the easiest track for LSU tonight.
So I kind of disagree a little on that for LSU. I think LSU's letdown spot was last week. And I get the weather being cold and rainy and all that stuff. But in particular, this opponent, UAB can't throw the football. And the teams that hurt LSU are teams that can throw the ball. So, I mean, we saw a team last week that was completely unable to throw the football, and they have SEC talent and put up 10 points. So I think LSU defensively, this is a see-ball, hit-ball game. I think they are fine there. I would like to see the offense get on track a little bit, and I'm not sure UAB's got the athletes to run with LSU. So I actually do think LSU gets a little more on track this weekend, unlike some of the teams, Charlie, that you mentioned who are struggling today.
Jaden Daniels last week was a rough outing for him. Mike Denbrock came out, and he was, it's pretty obvious what he was trying to do. He was trying to attack a very weak Arkansas secondary. And after a couple of turnovers, Daniels went back to holding the ball too long. So what are you looking at from a play-calling standpoint tonight to get Daniels back in a rhythm?
Exactly that. Get Daniels in a rhythm. And sometimes that's quick, short passes. That's, Hanny, I'll tell you the thing that did surprise me the most going back and rewatching the game last week is how when – the pressure was getting to Jaden, and you're right. A lot of that pressure was him, and he had outlets that he didn't get rid of the ball. They didn't go to one-read quick passes, get it to a receiver in the flat, throw that running back screen. That surprised me, and I would like to see some of that to get Jaden going. You know what else I'd really like to see? I'd like to see Kayshon Boutte get in the end zone. This will be his last game in Tiger Stadium. He's only got one touchdown on the season. I'd really like that for him. To see him hit pay dirt again today.
I think that'd be wonderful. I even floated the idea from a listener from earlier in the week that, hey, let him return a punt. I've been summarily shut down with that idea, but I didn't think it was a terror. It's not going to happen, but I thought, hey, listen, you struggle in that area. Boutte's coming down here toward the end. Maybe find another way to get the ball in his hand, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't hate that idea either. Normally, my feeling on that is protect your superstars and their ACLs on punt returns. Yeah. Like there's no reason you have enough talented athletes who you struggle to find ways to get them involved. Let them return punts. Like I hated Derek Stingley returning punts in 2019. I don't need superstars, but you're right. On this team, it's been a struggle to get some of these guys involved at times in the passing game. And that's a way to get them the ball in space. I would be perfectly fine with Kayshon. I'm going to tell you, even if it doesn't happen today, I don't know that you're going to need it next week, but 2 Saturdays from now when you're in the SEC championship game and you may be looking for a play, I don't think Gregory Clayton's the guy that's going to deliver it. Kayshon could. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I would have never endorsed this idea at the beginning of the season, but now with just a couple of games to go, I don't hate it. But they'll probably take that idea and my week 0 idea and put them in the same same file.
Yeah.
File.
I'll tell you this: I think your the punt idea's got a better chance of happening than the week 0 idea because at the beginning of the season we thought that was going to be Malik Neighbors, and nobody had Gregory Clayton returning punts at this point in the season. So if you need someone who's dynamic back there and you're looking to make a play in 2 weeks, I wouldn't stun me if they looked for it there.
I know you talked to some UAB people this week. Is Dwayne McBride one of the top 2 or 3? I know he's the leading rusher in the nation, but is he one of the top 2 or 3 guys that LSU has seen? In other words, if he was on an SEC team, let's say he was on Auburn, okay, where would he be in your opinion?
I think he'd be behind Tank Bigsby. I think I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a different style back, but he's better. I think Judkins from Ole Miss is a really, really gifted player. I mean, LSU's seen some good running backs this year, man. Even the guys at Tennessee, that 1-2 punch. I mean, it's that's why I like this matchup tonight. It's no disrespect at all to McBride. I mean, when you don't have much semblance of a passing game and you're running for 1,400, it's like those old Les Miles teams. Like when everybody knows you're running the ball and you can still run the ball, like you're really good in that space. But just as far as like gifted backs, like if you were looking at projectability, like I'd be surprised if Dwayne McBride were drafted over some of those other guys we just mentioned.
Watching today in college football, Michigan and TCU both win at the gun. Just your big takeaway. I don't know. I was thinking to myself, well, this is, maybe playing in LSU's favor a little bit now that it's, everything actually finished the way it was supposed to as far as who was winning the games. I'm not sure LSU has changed at all, but it was certainly entertaining today.
Both Baylor and Illinois with a PhD level course on how to blow an upset against a top 10 team or top 5 team. I mean, Bielema, and look, credit to Harbaugh. Harbaugh kicked a field goal. They were down 4. He kicked a field goal with about 3.5 minutes to go. Now he had 3 timeouts, but he said, "Look, we're gonna kick this field goal. We're gonna get a stop, use our timeouts, get the ball back," and they did. And they ended up kicking the game winner as time expired. But, man, for Baylor to give up that touch or the long field goal drive the way they did at the end of regulation for a team that had played really well defensively all day was disappointing. Because, Andy, I believe LSU needs help. Like, I don't think it's cut and dried. They beat Georgia, that LSU's in the playoff. I think you need TCU out. So TCU losing to a 6-4 Baylor team today would have been a massive help toward LSU's cause. And I don't know that Iowa State's going to clip them next week. So you might have to hope Kansas State in the Big 12 championship can help LSU out because I don't think they're going to get the help. I don't think if all else holds, right, let's say Ohio State beats Michigan, Georgia would have to lose to LSU, but I think Georgia's in either way. And TCU stays undefeated. I don't think LSU's leapfrogging Tennessee to get into the 4. I think Tennessee would be the 4th team in.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult to gauge it without knowing what the LSU-Georgia game would look like. But, head-to-head still matters. And where that game was, right down the street from where we are, I think all that stuff matters. I don't think it's certainly not a slam dunk. I would have liked to have seen. I forgot who was doing the game, the Baylor TCU game, but the color commentator said on the third down, on the rollout, the guy was there. And Baylor doesn't throw the ball. I would have given him one shot because, Matt, there was, a minute 50 at that point left in the game, and I thought that trying to get the first down and put the dagger in was more important than making them extinguish their last time out when you had a minute 50 left. If it would have been 50 seconds left, that's different. A minute 50, you just left Dugan too much time.
Too much time. And it's Heward was the color analyst.
Yeah,
that's
right. That's right.
I don't know who the play-by-play guy was, but Haney goes right back to the point. Like both of those coaches, meaning Aranda and I guess Grimes is a play caller, and Brett Bielema, they played scared, and we've seen it too many times, man. You can't affect a top 5 upset playing scared. Eventually, the longer you play, the more chances you give the better team. Ultimately, it's going to go their way, and it's disappointing, especially the TCU. Look, Michigan's going to lose to Ohio State next week. That takes care of itself, but the TCU one from an LSU perspective stings because I think you need TCU to lose.
All right, whiskey and wine following the game?
Oh, yeah, man. It'll be awesome. About 11:30 start. So while everybody's,
don't whine to
in their
me.
homes
Do not whine to me.
I'm not whining. I get it. When we finish around 1 a.m., that's when you'll get to take the baton and carry it deep into the night. But while everyone's snug in their home, drinking their hot cocoa next to a fire, put me and T-Bob on from Don Juan over at the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube. We'll be there.
All right, Scone. Have a good call. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a really good early morning, Handy. We'll see you.
And we will take a break here at Rouse's. Don't forget to download the mobile app for your curbside delivery here. And by the way, they will be open on Thanksgiving Day for a little bit better than half the day. They'll be open from 7 until 2. So you need your last minute. How many tell you, right in the middle of cooking something for Thanksgiving? Oh, we forgot. Well, Rouse's will be open until 2 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Don't have time for cold or flu?
I don't have time for the cold or the flu.
We're here to help with easy, convenient online check-in, virtual visits, or walk-in care. When you don't have time to be sick, feel better faster at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours. Do you think you have COVID-19?
I'm worried I may have COVID.
We're open 7 days a week for both rapid COVID and antibody testing. Life is busy. You don't have time. Get your results fast at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering.
98.1. The dependable storage college football scoreboard. Dependable storage. Let us store your stuff. DependableStorage.com.
Favorites steadying a little bit, but by no means out of the woods. Georgia leads Kentucky 16-9, but the Wildcats playing 4th and 3 at the Georgia 9-yard line. If they can get in here, this is early in the 4th quarter. They'll still have a heartbeat. We'll see if we can get you an update on that before at the end of the scoreboard. But they're about to play 4th down and 3 from the Georgia 9. 10:37 to go. 16-0. Georgia leads Kentucky. Number 2 Ohio State just kicked a field goal. They lead Maryland 20-13. About halfway through the 3rd quarter in that one. Clemson, number 9 Clemson just got a safety. They lead Miami 26-3. Minute and a half to go in the 3rd quarter there. Number 11 Penn State leading Rutgers 35-10. That game is early in the 3rd quarter. Early in the 4th quarter, Louisville leads number 24 NC State 13-10. Texas, a big lead over Kansas, 41-7. That game is late in the 3rd quarter. Jalen Daniels back for Kansas, but clearly showing the rust from his time off. Remember, he might have had as good of a September, Musso, as anybody. Awesome. But then the injury, and coming back now, he has thrown an interception. He's been off his game today.
And it was originally reported that he was going to be out for the year after that injury.
Yeah, in fact, he was the one that disputed that. And Kentucky does get the touchdown on 4th down and 3 from the 9, and they're going to go for 2 to try to make this a 1-possession game. So hang on. 9:52 to go in the Commonwealth, and Kentucky trying to get this 2 within 8. Now, where was I? BYU leading our friends over at Utah Tech. Find out what Utah Tech's mascot is. This is information.
And where they are in Utah.
Yeah, well, I'm probably not going to recognize the name of the town. If they're not in Salt Lake City.
The Trailblazers.
Trailblazers.
The Utah Tech Trailblazers.
Okay.
St. George, Utah.
Yeah. All right. I learned 2 new things. There you
go.
I learned 3 new things today. Number 1, I learned that there was a Utah Tech.
Yeah.
Number 2, I learned where they were, and number 3, I learned their mascot. Who says this stuff isn't educational?
That's got to be a FCS school or something.
Well, they're hanging in there with BYU for a while, but the Cougars pulling away now. Southern Miss leads South Alabama 17-13 late in the third. Early in the fourth, Troy leads UL Monroe 27-10. Also in the fourth quarter, Charlotte leads La Tech 19-14. In the third quarter, Middle Tennessee leads Florida Atlantic 42-21. Number 25, Cincinnati leads Temple 17-3. Iowa and Minnesota tied at 10. That game's about midway through the third quarter. UTEP leads Florida International 38-0. Halftime score on the Plains. Auburn leads Western Kentucky. I'm sorry, that game is tied now. 17 apiece. That game is at the half. Had the wrong score there. 17 apiece. Auburn and Western Kentucky at the break. Texas State leads Arkansas State 3-0 in the second quarter. Number 13, North Carolina, just underway against Georgia Tech. Tar Heels scored to go up 7-0. Stanford leads Cal 7-3. That game is 5 minutes in, and Marshall and Georgia Southern have just kicked off. Earlier finals today. Number 3, Michigan. Field goal inside of 10 seconds to nip Illinois 19-17. Sets up the big game next week against Ohio State, who is holding on against Maryland right now. They're about to get the ball back with a touchdown lead in the third quarter. Number 4, TCU, in one of the most exciting games of the season, beat Baylor 29-28. They had to run a scramble drill to get the field goal unit on, the fire drill to get the field goal unit on without a timeout, and the 41-yarder was right down Broadway to win it for TCU. Horned Frogs go to 11-0. They've got Iowa State next week at home. This was a two-game roadie for TCU. They got home with that. They beat Iowa State next week. They're going undefeated to the Big 12 championship game. Number 8, Alabama, kind of sleptwalk through most of this one, but beat Austin Peay 34-0. Number 15, Kansas State beat West Virginia 48-31. They had 41 points at the half in the first half. Things kind of settled down in the second half. Number 18, Notre Dame, no problem with Boston College. 44-0 was the final. The Irish with the win. Number 19, Florida State beat UL Lafayette today 49-13. That certainly does not hurt LSU at all. Florida State, the loss to the Seminoles back in September doesn't look quite as bad as it did at the time. Navy upset number 20, UCF 17-14. Number 23, Oregon State, no problem with Arizona State. Won that game 31-7. Mississippi State with an easy win over East Tennessee State 56-7. Texas A&M beat UMass 20-3 in front of dozens of fans at Kyle Field. Vanderbilt beats Florida for only the second time since 1989. Commodores beat the Gators 31-24 despite 3 touchdowns from Anthony Richardson for the Gators. Army beat UConn 34-17. Virginia Tech with a late score to nip Liberty 23-22. Wisconsin, another late score for the win. They beat Nebraska 15-14. Jim Leonard gets the Badgers bowl eligible in his bid to keep the full-time job. Purdue held off Northwestern 17-9. Indiana beat Michigan State 39-31. That was in 2 overtimes. Pittsburgh beat Duke 28-26, held off a 2-point conversion from the Blue Devils late in that one to preserve the win. UTSA beat Rice 41-7. It was Washington State over Arizona 31-20. Houston beat East Carolina 42-3. It was Memphis over North Alabama 59-0. James Madison beat Georgia State 42-40. And App State beat Old Dominion 27-14. And that is what your college football scoreboard looks like right now. And no, that was an earlier highlight. It looked like Ohio State scored there. 20-13 now.
20-13. They're back
the final.
They're back in it a little bit.
Excuse me, 2013, the score in the third quarter right now. Well, now it's no, come on. We want you on camera here.
Here we go.
Thanksgiving is next Thursday, but Santa Claus is
Santa's
here.
here.
Santa Claus is
Look
here.
at this.
Okay. We'd like an LSU win, and if you can do
Yes.
it, the rain to stop. If it's not too much trouble. Yeah.
Well, don't do that. No, don't do that.
Well, you must have been in the. If you bring in the snow, you must have been in the northern part of the country earlier today.
Yeah, I'm good on the snow.
Plenty of snow. Well, what we'd like is if we're asking for future president, a win over Georgia would be nice.
An SEC championship.
Okay? I mean, we've been Brian Kelly's been a good boy all year, so we'll do what we can there. All right, we're here at Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Opposing Media. Presented by Rev. Fiber fast internet made in Louisiana.
As we continue to count you down to LSU and UAB here on Eagle 98.1 Game Day from Rouse's on Burbank and Lee, we get a preview of the Blazers from Evan Dudley of AL.com. He sat down with Matt Moscona earlier this week on After Further Review.
Evan, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Do people there in Birmingham still talk about the 2000 UAB win in Baton Rouge?
Absolutely. That is probably one of their high water marks. Obviously, you look at it in context. It was Nick Saban's first year. LSU's exiting the Jerry DiNardo era. One I think some fans would probably like to forget a little bit. But, it's something they like to hang their hat on just because, it was one of their few wins over a Power 5 opponent. But I think they've had much better wins, in their more recent history, such as their first West Division title win over Southern Miss in overtime. They walked that off in overtime. Then you had their win last year to end last year, the number 13 BYU in the Independence Bowl. So this is a team that's got better wins, but it's definitely a win that they remember very fondly.
You know, it's such an odd situation as well with UAB, who, of course, they disbanded the program and then brought it back. And, man, Bill Clark did such a magnificent job. And then he sort of suddenly and abruptly retired before this season started. First, Evan, if I could ask, just how much did that catch people off guard, Bill Clark's decision?
I think it pretty much caught everyone kind of off guard. I'd kind of noticed something in spring practice. I think he might have missed a day. He had to go to a doctor's appointment and something about his back, which is something he had dealt with since his high school days, an injury in his high school days in the weight room. But he had a disectomy back in the late 90s. That relieved some of the pressure, but he eventually had to have an actual spinal fusion on some vertebrae. So it was just something he couldn't really avoid at this point. And rather than try to work his way through his recovery, he decided to go ahead and step aside because he knew he just would not be able to put in, his full 100% that he usually does to kind of lead a college football team.
So what was that transition like, Evan, being around the team, having to very abruptly and suddenly transition under an interim coach?
I don't think it was too hard of a transition for the players and the staff because the rest of the staff did remain there. They elevated Darren Crenshaw, a former Kentucky offensive coordinator. They elevated him to offensive coordinator there with Bryant Vincent taking over the interim job. But, just having that stability there with the coaching staff, that, the players were, they still know who they're, learning from. They're still learning the same system. They're still playing the same system. So I think the transition was not as hard, but I would think here in the next couple of weeks when we kind of find out, who they're going to hire for a permanent, whether they take Vincent's interim tag off or not, that's really going to be where the transition really becomes, more mammoth and focal.
Makes a lot of sense. Evan Dudley is with us, covers the Blazers for AL.com. Let's talk a little bit about this UAB football team. I think everybody knows what UAB is running the football with Dwayne McBride, over 1,400 yards already this season. What has made him so effective?
It's got to be just his absolute will to not be tackled. He's a guy who just, he wants to run the ball. He wants to help his team, but he does not like to be touched, does not like to be tackled. And you've seen that in the way he plays. He'll run through a guy. He'll run around him. He'll spin around him. He'll go over the top. He'll flip over. And he'll do about just anything he can to avoid being tackled. Now, of course, that also resulted in early fumbles this season, which also led to early losses. And that's kind of been the story of the UAB football team, is just missed opportunities at 5-5, all their losses coming in one-possession games. But, Dwayne McBride is just a very special player. He's had a big offensive line built from Mississippi JUCO guys to run behind, and those guys just kind of paved the road for him, and he kind of does the rest with just his sheer will.
Can they throw it?
They can. The past few years they've been more of a boom and bust. Work the play action off the running game, but they've kind of evolved a little bit more. They've added more depth. Trey Shropshire was kind of a deep threat last year. He led the nation in yards per reception. But they've got some more guys now. Tajon Palmer from Snow College. He played back-to-back spring and fall seasons last year, but he's got a little bit rest, and he's really come on here late in the season. So they've got some guys who can, do some things with the ball in their hands, and I think that's made this passing game a little bit more, probably just a little bit more productive than what it would have been just relying on the run and rushing play action down the field.
Dylan Hopkins is the quarterback who's played a lot of ball. What do you expect from him Saturday in Tiger Stadium?
I'd like to think that he would go in calm. He's been in these situations before. He's coming off an injury, had a concussion, but, they held him out an extra week when he possibly could have won. He just didn't practice. He wanted to kind of, get out of that hesitation mode in his mind where, he'd be afraid of a hit. But I'd like to think that he'll go in, he'll be calm, he'll be confident, he'll be efficient, which is kind of his MO. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but unfortunately when he does make mistakes, they are big ones. So that's something that he'll have to really rein in and really play within himself, take what the defense gives him, which probably won't be too much, but he'll just have to manage this game as a good quarterback should.
Evan, let's flip it over and talk about that defense. Where are the opportunities for LSU to attack UAB's defense?
It would probably more likely be around the edge. They have done well in keeping quarterbacks contained for the most part, the lone exception being Frank Harris out of UTSA. They have still not allowed a 300-yard passer this year, but, Jaden Daniels leading LSU in rushing, the way he's been able to pass the ball as well, 14 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, very efficient as well. So I think he's going to be really the focus of this defense. And if he can, kind of get out of that pocket, make some plays and, get them, a little bit confused as well, pre-snap, then I think he can take advantage of this defense because they are very aggressive. They like to come after the quarterback. They like to affect him. They like to play a lot of man coverage because of that. So it really comes down to, I think, Jaden Daniels really seeing the field and taking advantage of the spots that he sees.
A couple more for Evan Dudley, covers UAB for AL.com. He's on Twitter at Evan Do Right AL. That's WRITE. Special teams has been a little bit of a bugaboo for LSU this year. If this does end up a close game on a cold day in Baton Rouge, special teams could be big. How are the Blazers there?
They're actually pretty solid. Their kicker, Matt Quinn, he had a couple early misses this year that were, out of routine. They were very short misses, but since then he's kind of got back on track, got his confidence back. Last week against North Texas, we had a pretty strong wind coming at us from the north, and he kicked, I believe, almost an over 40-yard field goal straight into the wind, where we were seeing the North Texas kickers, their kicks, would go halfway and then drop immediately to the ground. So, this guy's got power. He's got some accuracy. It just remains with his confidence, on the field and, not getting too much of his head. As far as their punting, they've got a guy, Kyle Greenwell. He averages almost 45 yards a punt. He can place it down inside the 20. He can flip the field when necessary. Unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to play in his senior day last week, because UAB did not punt against North Texas. But definitely a guy to keep an eye on as far as field position if UAB gets into that kind of situation where they need to flip the field.
That's a good day for a punter if you don't have to play. Actually, it means something's going pretty well. Hey, before you go, if UAB does pull the upset, what does that blueprint look like Saturday in Tiger Stadium?
I think they're going to have to run the ball. McBride will have to have success, and a lot of that's going to come down to his, one-on-one matchups when he sees Baskersfield and Harold Perkins in his line of sight, 2 guys who are, playing just elite level right now, especially Perkins after last week. But, it's going to come down to him really holding on to the ball, not making mistakes. If they can do that, control the time of possession and, score off these possessions and, not turn the ball over, not, fail on third downs, keep the ball on the ground, keep the ball out of Jaden Daniels' hands, I think is the most important thing. Limit his opportunities. And when he does have his opportunities, they need to be aggressive, but not so much that they allow him to, get out of the pocket and make plays over their heads.
He is Evan Dudley, covers the Blazers for AL.com. Follow him on Twitter there at Evan Do Right AL. That's WRITE. Evan, we appreciate it, man. Enjoy the game on Saturday. Stay warm.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Don't have time for cold or flu?
I don't have time for the cold or the flu.
We're here to help with easy, convenient online check-in, virtual visits, or walk-in care. When you don't have time to be sick, feel better faster at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours. Do you think you have COVID-19?
I'm worried I may have COVID.
We're open 7 days a week for both rapid COVID and antibody testing. Life is busy. You don't have time. Get your results fast at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Talkin' Tigers. Talkin' Tigers. Presented by Louisiana Land Bank. Louisiana Land Bank. They're experts in rural land and equipment lending. Talkin' Tigers. Offensive lineman Miles Frazier.
I feel like last week we got a little separated from our process that I told you about and different things like that. And I feel as though just trusting it, just coming back this week into that process, that we're all gonna really rise to the top. It was just a different feel. We didn't really practice that well last Tuesday and different things like that. So I feel as though going into this week, just trusting that same process, we'll be able to get back into the flow of things like we were earlier in the season.
Defensive end Ali Gay.
Job's not finished, all the confetti and everything is all cool and all, but we still have a job to accomplish, and our accomplish is not just the division. We're trying to go higher, and this is just a step along the way.
Linebacker Micah Baskerville.
My teammates, we all stay on each other, stay accountable, and we know we have a bigger goal, so that's how we stay focused, stay locked in.
Offensive lineman Miles Frazier.
As soon as I first met him, and as soon as the other guys that were here last year, they had told me when they met him, they just knew he was business, knew that the process worked, and basically trusting it, him building habits, him holding us to a high expectation. A lot of people know the program from last year and didn't really expect us to do what we are this year, but Coach Kelly basically had that envision the whole time, and we just all had to buy into that system. And I feel like it started slow, but once we bought in from the spring to now the sky's the limit.
Defensive end Ali Gay.
Shout out to, you've seen what Coach Kelly's staff has done. It took all of us buying into his culture and everything that he's trying to instill in us. And you guys have seen you guys seen it on TV. If you've heard about process and everything, and everybody buying in, that was a major key. And everybody just being accountable and just having a culture that's going to change this program into a winning culture. So that's what he's done so far, and we've been pretty successful with it.
Linebacker Micah Baskerville.
It's been a lot of ups and downs. I think everything happens for a reason, and like me coming back for my 5th year, and now we're, because I didn't want to leave out on the note of last year. I wanted to end out on more something like this, and it's just crazy how God works and everything just fall into place. So it's been a good road. I say 5 years.
Offensive lineman Miles Frazier.
We treat all the opponents the same, Alabama, UAB, because the standard's the standard. Like, we're gonna over prepare for Alabama, over prepare for UAB, over prepare for Tennessee, whoever we face. We basically treat the process the same, and we don't want to underlook any opponent, because opponents could catch you sleeping at any week. So we just stick to the same process.
Defensive end Ali Gay.
So I got my people coming in, my mom and dad, aunt, my sister, and my brother-in-law. So they'll all be in attendance, and I'm excited. It's a special day. It's coming down to my last few games as an LSU Tiger, but it's been special. It's been special being here, and that just putting a cap on, being a senior out here is just looking back and everything. I've been grateful enough to be here, play alongside a lot of great players and being around a lot of great coaches. So, this is just, basically just cherry on top.
Linebacker Micah Baskerville.
It plays a big role because we're the ones that's on the field. Whatever he calling, we have to make the calls to them on the field. We have to give it to them exactly how he does. So, by us being in the room with him, we know how he think. We already know on second and long, this is what he's going to be thinking. So now, since we're all connected and I'm already telling those guys how we're going to come this way, or he telling us in these meetings, so it's all connected. So I feel like having him as a linebacker coach does help our defense a lot because it's just like he's out there on the field when we're out there.
Defensive end Ali Gay.
Yeah, they have a good back. But they have a different kind of offense that they bring in. But, we're going to attack it the same as, stop the run game because they have a good running back. So up front, we're going to have to, bow down and buckle down and just stop the run as a D-line and then let the back seven do their thing. But, we treat every team the same, But at the same time, we focus on us. But we treat every team the same as, they're a challenge. It doesn't matter who we play. We just have to do us. Focus on us and our preparation and our process of trying to be the best team that we can be.
Talking Tigers, Eagle 98.1, Game Day.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Keys to the Beat. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill.
And we bring in Jeremy Hill, who will not be with us on postgame tonight, taking the week, but is on with Hunt and Hill every day at 1 o'clock on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jeremy, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm great, man. How you guys doing? I don't know how the Cats are doing, but they were driving last time I saw.
They came up a little bit short. They're still down 10. Georgia's about ready to put a fork in this one, I think. It hasn't been their most impressive performance, but looks like they're going to hang on 16-6 with just 2:40 to go in the game. Now, Ohio State has tightened up a little up, and just as I said that they scored, Maryland had pulled within a touchdown. Man, Jeremy, so it's a good place to start. About the psyche of a team when you get this late in the season, man. Teams that are playing for championships and teams that are, playing out the. I don't want to say playing out the string, but are not playing for it, but are still playing hard, man. We've seen a lot of stuff in college football today. The favorites have been rocked.
Yeah, no, it's at that point in the season where the favorites kind of want to get to the good part, and that's, postseason play. And for a lot of these teams, there's not much to play for. This is their Super Bowl, so you got to get, their best efforts to kind of shock the country and kind of go out there and play their best version that they haven't really done all season. And for the teams who have kind of dominated all season long, it's really hard to keep that level of focus when you've had your big-time matchups, you beat them, and you kind of have those demons seep in that this game will be an easy game. But for these teams, they're going to come out striking, and you're seeing a lot of that throughout the country today.
So let's talk about LSU's focus level. It's been 6 straight weeks of Southeastern Conference games, some big, big wins in there. And you know what they got coming up in the next 2 weeks. So what do you think their level of focus is for a game against UAB where they're a significant favorite?
Yeah, and you kind of saw that last week when you figured that that Arkansas team got the start quarterback. They probably won a lot more than they did in that game and played the game down to the wire where Arkansas kind of gave them their best shot. And so I think today, little less competition there, not an SEC opponent. So you should, even if you don't bring your best brand of football, you should be able to kind of put this game away a lot sooner. But I think they'll get an opportunity today. Obviously, they didn't love the way they played last week, so I'm expecting this team to kind of already get that out of the way and kind of play some good ball and get some of the backups in there by the second half.
We talk about those teams playing like this is their Super Bowl. Maryland gave up that touchdown, but they blocked the extra point and ran it all the way back. So instead of 34-21, it's 33-23, and there's still plenty of time left in that game. Maryland only down 10 with 12 minutes to go there. Jeremy, the look that Arkansas showed LSU last week, kind of spreading things out defensively and dropping a lot of people, really put the clamps on Jaden Daniels. Gordy was talking earlier about how this is basically daring LSU to run the football between the tackles. So you tell me if you think LSU is going to see a lot more of this and their ability to run the ball between the tackles moving forward.
Yeah, no, I think it's a dangerous game to play if you're a defensive coordinator when you really have your style that you play all year, and then in 1 week you try to change your whole entire game plan and try to switch it up. And some teams that really run that, they're really good at that, and they can really kind of replicate that week in and week out. But when you're a 4-man front or 5-man front, you change the game plans up. You can't do it to the level that you've seen from other teams. So you can mimic it and try, but if it's not something you do, I don't think you can do it well. And we've kind of seen LSU kind of light up some of these 3-man rushes in that Mississippi State game, obviously 2 in that Ole Miss game. And so I think, they'll fix that out and get a game plan this week where, they can probably play a more dominant brand against those types of defense because we've seen them do that already this year.
What are you expecting from Mike Denbrock to get Daniels back comfortable, and keep in mind that the weather here is quite lousy right now, and we're expecting rain at game time?
Yeah, I think, get the ball out quick. And that's something that we've kind of seen when Jaden had that, his struggles, holding the ball just entirely too long and overthinking and not giving his guys some chances, especially when you got the easy open guy there quick. So if I'm Denbrock, maybe it's a screen pass, maybe, it's just getting out a quick little stick route to the tight end and just get his rhythm going early. And what we're seeing from Jaden, when he has confidence, he's not scared to make big-time throws, which we saw in the Alabama game.
All right, before we let you go, give me a pick on Ole Miss and Arkansas. LSU's seen them both recently. They're kicking off here in less than an hour.
Ole Miss, Arkansas, I'll take Lane Train, man. If he wants to get all these big bucks, he's got to win games like this. So I'll take the rest.
Yeah, you're not buying into the he's distracted theory.
Oh, no. This is time for him to get that money, right? This extension from Ole Miss and a little pay raise are going to greater passions. I think Lane will get the group ready for that Arkansas team.
All right, Gordy sends his love since he gets to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning tonight for you. So,
Gordy, I love him, man. Go Tigers.
All right, man. Have a safe trip back, Jeremy Hill, Porter Hunton Hill. every day at 1 o'clock on ESPN Radio. Kentucky does head the ball back, but they're down 2 scores, under 2 minutes to go now in Lexington. 16-6, Georgia leads it.
Running Boards Marketing that can help your business stand out. Giant LED mobile billboard trucks. Saw one the other day, actually, on Perkins Road. They drive eye-catching ads that are impossible to miss. Check them out for your business at runningboardsmarketing.com.
Here at Rouse's, this is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Don't have time for cold or flu?
I don't have time for the cold or the flu.
We're here to help with easy, convenient online check-in, virtual visits, or walk-in care. When you don't have time to be sick, feel better faster at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours. Do you think you have COVID-19?
I'm worried I may have COVID.
We're open 7 days a week for both rapid COVID and antibody testing. Life is busy. You don't have time. Get your results fast at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation.
98.1. The Ralph's Market College Football Scoreboard. Ralph's Market, where quality and customer service are a family tradition.
Maryland's got the football back, and they are inside the 10-yard line, second down, and inside the 5-yard line now, and playing second down and goal, almost to the goal line. Let's call it inside the 1, third down and goal. Ohio State leads Maryland 33-23, 11 minutes to go, and the clock is moving. If Maryland, who's got 2 shots here to punch it in from inside the 1-yard line, can punch it in there, they get within 1 score. It's just gone final in Lexington. Much like the rest of the top 5 teams today, it was pulling teeth for the favorite, but Georgia gets home 16-6 against Kentucky. All right, games in progress. Number 9, Clemson leads Miami 33-10. That's late fourth quarter. Number 11, Penn State with a 48-10 lead over Rutgers early fourth quarter. Louisville leads number 24, NC State 25-10. And about 5 minutes, a little under 5 minutes to go in Louisville. Texas, no problems with Kansas, 55-14, 6 minutes to go there. BYU beat Utah, leading Utah Tech 42-20. The Trailblazers.
From St. George, Utah.
I'm going to remember that forever
Yep.
now. South Alabama leading Southern Miss 27-17 with 2 minutes to go. Troy leading UL Monroe 34-16 with 4 minutes to go. Middle Tennessee leading Florida Atlantic 49-21 with 4 minutes to go. Number 25 Cincinnati leading Temple 23-3 with that game has just started the fourth quarter. Iowa and Minnesota tied at 10 with 9 minutes to go in regulation. UTEP leading Florida International 38-6 early fourth quarter. Auburn leading Western Kentucky 27-17 with a minute to go in the third. Maryland has just gotten in 33-29 with the conversion to come. Where was I? Auburn. 27-17, minute to go in the third. Tank Bigsby 2 touchdowns. Arkansas State leading Texas State 7-3. That's at half. North Carolina, 13th ranked, leading Georgia Tech 17-0. That is late in the second quarter. 10 minutes to go till halftime. Stanford leading Cal 10-6. And late in the first quarter, Georgia Southern is leading Marshall. Marshall is just Marshall has the lead, 6-3. Marshall leading Georgia Southern with a minute to go in the third. And we got starting at the top of the hour, Tennessee and South Carolina, Texas Tech and Iowa State, Boise State and Wyoming, 6:30 kick for number 14 Ole Miss and Arkansas, number 22 Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, and Bedlam from Norman. 6:30 kickoff for New Mexico State and Missouri. 7 o'clock kickoff at the Rose Bowl, number 7 USC, number 16 UCLA. 7 o'clock kickoff for Syracuse and Wake Forest. 8 o'clock kickoff for Colorado at number 17 Washington. Colorado State at Air Force. 8:45 for San Jose State and Utah State. 9:30 kickoff for number 10 Utah and number 12 Oregon. Bo Nix is a game-time decision for the Ducks. Fresno State and Nevada. 10 o'clock kickoff for UNLV and Hawaii. And that is your college football scoreboard. We're here at Rouse's where you can download the mobile app for curbside delivery, and they will be open for a part of the day on Thanksgiving Day to get your last-minute holiday items from 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. With
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Inside the stadium. Inside the stadium. Presented by GoFlow IV Spa. GoFlow IV Spa, where athletes come to hydrate so they can dominate.
To Tiger Stadium, the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair. Chris, I want to start on a positive note here, so I'm just going to say it like this. You could be in Buffalo.
Yeah, you could be. And instead of just the rain pouring down, I guess it could be 6 feet of snow. So, yeah, there is a bright side.
Yeah, it's not. It's going to be tough going in there tonight. Listen, I almost feel guilty saying that it's cold here, given what the rest of the country is dealing with, and the snow in way more places than Buffalo. But the conditions, you kind of paint a picture for me here, because it's been raining pretty much all afternoon. It's cold by our standards, so this is not going to be the most pleasant of conditions for these players.
No, I thought the irony, Charlie, was, Harold Perkins last week, a little under the weather, and still played like the greatest linebacker in college football, and got the game ball and said, hey, let's go home. I want to go home. And while it was slightly warmer when we got back to Baton Rouge, I think it's, who'd have thunk that we'd be back here for senior night, the final regular season home game, and maybe the conditions are worse. I mean, I know it was cold. Kickoff was 34 last week, but now it's cold and it's a steady rain. And when you look out my office window and you can see reflection of lights, that means there's a lot of water on the ground. So it's not going to be pleasant. And, I guess it's easy to simply say, well, this is a UAB team that loves to run the football, and Dwayne McBride is one of the top running backs statistically in the country. So this favors UAB. We'll have to wait and see. But it's certainly going to be miserable for those playing on the field, and obviously for those who are going to brave the elements and come out and sit in the stands.
So you brought up Perkins. I was reminded of a conversation I had with Jim Hawthorne back in 2011. I called him. I don't even remember what part of the season it was. I called him and I said, what's going on, Jim? And he says, well, I've been sending Tyrann Mathieu highlights to affiliates throughout the country who, wanted the calls because he's getting so much attention now. And I would imagine that a lot of people have discovered Harold Perkins in the last 3 or 4 weeks that didn't know about him before. So you just tell me how many Harold Perkins calls you're taking.
Yeah, there's been a few requests for those, and it was funny. I talked to Coach Kelly Thursday night, and I said, Coach, we've seen him even back early in the season, Charlie, when he wasn't getting as many snaps. You could immediately see, wow, this guy can really impact the game when he's out there. And obviously, fans were clamoring for him to get more and more play. And then over the last 3 games, certainly the last 2 games, he has taken the college football world by storm. And for those few people who keep an eye on college football in general, everybody was talking about him Saturday evening, Sunday morning, and all this week. It's quite amazing, the explosion on the scene that he has had. But when you have the performance he has, and, it's like UAB's coach this week said in his press conference, whether he's rushing the quarterback off the edge, whether he's spying the quarterback, whether he's setting back in coverage. He does it all. He's got speed. He's got power. And as he said, it's the best true freshman he's ever seen in his career. So, everybody knows about Harold now.
I get that this is not an SEC game, but I got to think that Brian Kelly has sounded the alarm and said it so many times this week. You got to focus here. We know what's out in front of LSU in the next few weeks, but Chris, all of the top teams today, they were in dogfights. Georgia, Michigan, TCU. We're watching Ohio State try and hang on here against Maryland. It's got to at least, get your antenna up to say, hey, listen, there's no givens in college football.
Yeah, Charlie, it was funny. I was laughing this morning when the first couple of games came on at 11 o'clock. And, of course, all this week we said, well, this one will be a laugh or this won't be interesting. College football this weekend will be slightly boring, except for maybe a handful of games. And suddenly you had, these teams like UMass who gave Texas A&M, quite a game, 1-9. I mean, again, on paper, that shouldn't even be – that ought to be outlawed, in fact. But, again, it's interesting because I think what Coach Kelly, what I've noticed, Charlie, about what he does is he obviously is very detail-oriented. We talked about it. He's very organized. But he also has these simple ways to send these impactful messages. And when the players this week had the media availability, 4 of them talked to the media. Every one of them multiple times said, what's important now? That's the mantra. What's important now? And what's important now is UAB. So they've taken that simple 3 words, and that's what they've tried to focus on. And as I have said many times, they certainly have talked the talk this week. I mean, they obviously know the message. We'll find out here in a little bit if they can talk the talk and stay focused against UAB and not look to next week and certainly not look to 2 weeks from now. 17
seniors tonight. When you think about this group, what years from now, what will stay with you about this class?
Yeah, I just think that they were committed. One of the things Coach Kelly said, and I think we're all a little jaded, especially in the media now, when people say you're playing for your school. Sometimes it's with NIL and transfer portal, and are you really playing for their school the way they did 20 years ago? I think a lot can be said for the guys who decided to transfer into a program that certainly was waning over the last 2 years, to put it nicely. And then you had some guys who stuck around who had been through the last 2 years. And for me, those guys, I think, are playing for LSU, and they're playing for the state of Louisiana. I mean, you talk about, guys like Joe Fouché, and they're playing for that jersey, even though they played several years for somebody else. So for me, I think I'm going to remember that these guys wanted to play in the purple and gold, and it just so happens to be thus far along the journey, they've been probably one of the more memorable teams of late, just simply on what they've been able to do based on expectation.
Going to hand the baton to you guys here in just a few minutes. What's coming up on Network Pregame?
Well, we had to drop back and punt a little bit because of the weather, so the guys are going to be in the Capital One studios.
I bet they were real disappointed. I bet they were real disappointed you brought them back inside, right?
I thought about around 4 o'clock and just going ahead and leaving them out there. But so they're upstairs. They're out of the elements, and they'll be ready to go to set the picture. And talking to Hunt a few moments ago, I mean, he's really on this thing the way you guys have been talking as well, Charlie, which is you got to take this team very seriously, because again, those matchups you talked about earlier that looked on paper like laughers. That's not the case with UAB. I mean, this is a team that has lost 5 games, but by a combined 27 points. They're a play here or there away from having a much better record. And again, they're one of the more veteran teams you'll see, in college football. So I think that's what the guys are going to hammer home. And I know Brandon Taylor's going to say, you cannot look to next week. You can't look to next 2 weeks. You got to be focused right now.
I know there's no umbrellas allowed in Tiger Stadium. Did you guys get a waiver for Gordy, or it's just Poncho City?
No, Gordy. He'll get down there in the equipment room. He'll find the 1 or 2 pairs of clothes that they could play in the Arctic Circle with. So I have no problem knowing that Gordy will be just fine in the element.
Chris, we appreciate it. Have a good call. We'll talk to you next week from Texas A&M.
You got it, guys. Thanks.
We'll take a break, come back, and wrap things up here at Rouse's. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Don't have time for cold or flu?
I don't have time for the cold or the flu.
We're here to help with easy, convenient online check-in, virtual visits, or walk-in care. When you don't have time to be sick, feel better faster at Lake Urgent Care and Lake After Hours. Do you think you have COVID-19?
I'm worried I may have COVID.
We're open 7 days a week for both rapid COVID and antibody testing. Life is busy. You don't have time. Get your results fast at Lake
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day wrapping up here. This is not going to be the smoothest. There'll be times with the I just meant in the with the elements and given all this. I mean, this may feel at times like pushing a ball of molasses up a sandy hill, but they the focus has got to be there. UAB is a capable team, and for LSU, everything is still out in front of you. The stakes are extraordinarily high. So we'll see if Brian Kelly can get them focused. They come out and get a win here tonight and move on to Texas A&M for UAB. Going to try to get the run game going, and LSU's number one job to stop that. If they do, they'll probably be fine. We'll be back 90 minutes after the end of LSU and UAB. Ohio State hanging on 33-30 with 4 minutes to go against Maryland. We'll see if they, like the other teams in the top 5, can survive this upset bid. For Matt Musso and all of us here at Rouse's, I'm Charles Henniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for the network pregame. This has been Eagle 98.1 Game Day.